Yesterday, the New York Jets agreed to a trade in principle with the Tennessee Titans to acquire nose tackle T'Vondre Sweat. Shortly after T'Vondre Sweat was added to the team, several Tennessee Titans people came out and had things to say, including one Titans insider who called him big, fat, and lazy. We'll get into it. Boy Green Daily starts now.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. We have an article in the YouTube description down below. And I will tell you this, guys, yesterday was a very busy day. Of course, the first day of on-field workouts of the NFL Combine, some interesting takeaways. So we'll have some articles out on Heavy.com on that, and a new player entering the conversation for the Jets. It could be a story on tomorrow's show. We'll keep you posted, but all kinds of new information is happening. Also, I want to give you guys a quick, directional path after Boy Green Daily. I reached out to 3 Tennessee Titans people I know, a Tennessee Titans insider, a Tennessee Titans beat reporter, and a Tennessee Titans analyst. And I asked them, can they pop on the show for a few minutes to talk about T'Vondre Sweat? So we have somewhere in the ballpark of an hour of coverage. The interviews are like 20 minutes apiece or less. So after this is over, feel free to go check out all those interviews. If you want to know anything and everything about T'Vondre Sweat, from a beat reporter that covers the team, from an insider that's covered the team for a while, and then from an analyst that covers the team, I got some interesting perspectives, and I will actually bring up a few of those quotes in a little bit based on this insider's take on everything. So I hope you guys do check out all of those interviews. Flex on them, baby. That's how we operate. And every Friday here on the show, we're joined by a very special guest, one of the favorites of the people. And they made this happen on a week-to-week basis. And, all these months later, I couldn't be happier. So let's bring him in. He is the author of that book over my left shoulder that is Beyond Broadway Joe, the Super Bowl team that changed football forever. Let's bring him in. It is the one and only Bob Lederer in his weekly Friday spot. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Ask me how I'm doing.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, but I'll get better.
Yeah, why's that?
Because we're going to find out what sweat is all about.
That we are, and an immediate shout out to Jake Asman here because Jake is center stage today. Jake,
wow!
Nothing like Boy Green and Big Game Bob on a Friday. That's a good nickname.
Hey, is our soon-to-be Sweat the same related to the Bears defensive end Sweat?
Montez Sweat, I don't believe there's any relation, but okay. I will look into that and see. I hope so. Montez Sweat is actually very talented. But yes, let's get into it here. And Jake, I will mention your name, so I'm glad that you came up, of course. This video clip we're about to play is from the Jake Asman show yesterday. Yep. We'll get into the trade, Bob. I'm curious to hear your opinion on it. But the Jets and Titans struck a trade, swapping pass rusher Jermaine Johnson for nose tackle T'Vondre Sweat, a rare player-for-player swap. Again, I want to make sure I make this clear at the beginning of the show. This trade cannot be official until 2 things happen. Number 1, both players pass their physicals. That has to happen. And the new league year has to get here. So this can't become official till March 11th. So you won't see the Titans post anything about it. You won't see the Jets post anything about it. So we're actually a couple weeks away from that happening, but just so you know out there in the audience. But yes, Jake Asman on his show live from the NFL Combine had Tennessee Titans insider Jared Stillman on his program and asked him for his thoughts on T'Vondre Sweat. And Bob, he shared his thoughts on T'Vondre Sweat.
I heard it too, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy, here we go. Everyone else is about to hear it. Here we go.
So from a Jet standpoint with this deal, with Sweat, what type of player are the Jets getting? We just look at the raw stats, but it's always tough with that type of position to evaluate stats and value. You're watching him every game. What type of player is T'Vondre Sweat?
T'Vondre Sweat is a big, fat, lazy, run-stuffing defensive tackle. So if Aaron Glenn brings him in and says, hey, I want you to develop as a player. I want to play you on third down. I want to play you in the 2-minute drill. I want to play you in passing situations. He's going to be disappointed. If he says, hey, I want you to go be what DJ Reader was for us with Detroit, then I think you've got something there. The problem is the Titans completely overdrafted T'Vondre Sweat in 2024. They used the 38th pick on him. The Rams made a crazy deal to move up to 39 with Carolina for Braden Fisk. And so the Titans took a run-stuffing DT who had just gotten a DUI with the 38th pick, and they were having to justify this pick as, no, we think he can develop into a third down type player. We think he can develop into a pass rusher. We think he can basically be Jeffrey Simmons 2.0, which was crazy. And the problem with him being Jeffrey Simmons 2.0 is that he doesn't play like Jeffrey Simmons. That's not really his position. But also the biggest problem with T'Vondre Sweat is that he's lazy. And so over the 2 years, I think the Titans had seen enough to know that he was really fat, really lazy, wasn't going to fit into what Robert Saleh's scheme, that 4-3 style, would really want. And so if you're looking for a big, fat, run-stuffing DT, T'Vondre Sweat is your guy. If you want somebody who's going to go over and beyond, if you want to get him to make changes to himself, that's not going to happen. But if you just want somebody to clog up the run, he's your guy.
Well, in this world, it's important to have opinions, and boy, does Jared Stillman have one. Here is my thoughts. I want to say this first.
By the way, before you give your thought,
go ahead.
Did you note? I watched carefully this time Jake's reaction to what he was being told. Because it was quite a bit different from woo-wee for the first hour or so after the deal was made. But go ahead.
No, and I'm okay with different opinions for sure. Yeah. And I see Jake is in our comment section. I have been in the seat of Jake of being a host, and all of a sudden someone says something, you're like, I didn't have that on the bingo card. Okay. And you have to change it. And again, you guys can go watch the full interview on Jake's channel where he follows up almost in disbelief on that comment. And I want to say this. I don't know who Jared Stillman is. I know a lot of people at the Tennessee Titans. It's sort of a weird connection. I have no idea why I know so many people down there, but for whatever reason I do. And I will share some of their takes. Again, I have a couple of their quotes from our interviews yesterday, and they did express off-field concern with T'Vondre Sweat. They did. But to me, on what Jared Stillman said, my take is this. After hearing it, going, wow, tweeting it out, and then hearing the response from both Titan fans and Jet fans about that quote, I feel like Jared Stillman, and sorry, Jared, if he gets offended by this, but he feels very shock jock to me, to bring back an old radio term. When you're calling people big, fat, and lazy, I feel like it sort of gets to a place that's almost personal. It seems like, based on that clip and hearing the interview, that Jared was not a fan of T'Vondre Sweat being drafted in the first place by Tennessee. He called him overdrafted, and there's more during the interview that you guys can check out, but I'm not just going to play the full Jake Asman interview here. And it seems like he wasn't a fan of the pick. And then as time went on, he kept on his preconceived notion of hating the pick and has just sort of berated the guy. To me, and I've said this on the show a lot, that no matter how I feel about a prospect, and there are prospects I like and there are prospects I don't like for the Jets in this draft that we're going to talk about. And then if they become Jets, whatever I thought about them, whoop, I throw it in the trash, and I'm a Jets fan. I've got no other choice. I'm all in. I will not say, I always said that guy, I hated his guts. Like, I just feel like that's the wrong way to go about it. And it feels like, unfortunately here for Jared, that his preconceived notions of T'Vondre Sweat before the draft are continuing to persist in his analysis now. Now, I just want to say this, and then, Bob, I'd love your take on it. Again, I spoke with 3 different Titans people. 2 of them I trust immensely. The third one I trust immensely, but I haven't known him anywhere near as long as I've known the other 2 Titans people. And it's, again, we'll go through each one. Drew Beatty, he joins us every Monday. He is a Tennessee Titans analyst. He said this about T'Vondre Sweat's issues. I spoke to all 3 of these individuals yesterday after the trade. Quote, T'Vondre Sweat came into the league with some does he really love football concerns. I think those have continued some in Tennessee. They weren't thrilled with how he performed in the locker room, but a culture change and a location change can do a lot for that, saying maybe that can change with the Jets. I spoke with Tennessee Titans insider Mike Herndon. I've known him for a cajillion years, and he's covered Tennessee for a long time. He said this, quote, "There's been some stuff, even going back to last year before Robert Saleh was on board, that the Titans weren't thrilled with Sweat behind the scenes. It's not necessarily the play on the field, because I think he has been a very effective player when he's been out there. I don't think the Titans really cared for his approach in the building." And then one last quote here. This came from a beat reporter, Easton Freeze of A to Z Sports Nashville. I had him also on the show yesterday. Again, they're all separate interviews in the video tab. Quote, "Yeah, it's a lot of the same stuff that followed him during the pre-draft process a couple of years ago. There have been questions about work ethic and dedication. It's very, very clear how uniquely gifted he is as a human being. God doesn't build many players with his athleticism and the body type that T'Vondre Sweat has. You saw it last year. You saw it the year before. When he's on the field and healthy and dedicated to his craft, he is absolutely an impact player at this level." So again, obviously, there are some off-field concerns. There is a reason that Tennessee moved on from him beyond the schematics. But I think this particular guy, Jared Stillman, is a little slanted with how he feels, is my take. Bob, what's your reaction to all that?
I don't have any reason to think that he's slanted, but I think there is one element here that nobody talked about yesterday, but that we've talked about here and on your show for weeks.
Yeah.
Carl Dunbar.
Yes, of course.
You're talking about somebody who has literally seen it all.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably dealt with not only so many guys who were as big as this guy is. You know, it's funny. There was a very long time Bears offensive lineman here, actually from New York, who calls defensive tackles big fatties. Because that's what you basically need. You want
right
in the middle there that are basically space eaters. You can't move them. This guy is one of those guys. If he's got off the field issues or on the field issues, I place my trust in Carl Dunbar to get whatever the best is that they can get out of him. I just hope, because I understand he loves to spend his time at the table raking it in, that the Jets can find a way to hold that back just a little bit, because I'd hate for him basically to eat his way out of the league. Now, Samini put out a couple of post-trade comments yesterday, which were quite interesting. And one is the very favorable cap result of this trade.
Yes.
Sweat's only going to count $1.2 million against the cap. Lane Johnson was over $11 million against.
Yeah, actually, it was 13. So here's how the money works. Jermaine was in the last year of his rookie deal, which is $13.4 million fully guaranteed. It's a 5th-year option. By trading him, the Jets have no dead cap. It's just a fully guaranteed number that the Titans are taking all of as part of the deal. So the Jets, with this swap-a-rooney, bringing in, accounting for T'Vondre Sweat's cap hit, which you just mentioned, and Jermaine's going out, the Jets created $11.7 million in cap space, which means right now in this moment in time, the Jets have $91 million in cap space. That is now the 3rd most in the league. So with that trade and swapping everybody around, that's where they stand.
Yeah. So as far as his ability, nobody disagrees that he doesn't take up a lot of space. Now, I think I read he's only had 3 sacks in 2 years.
Yeah, let me pull up the numbers and see. But that sounds right.
I'm pretty sure of that number. Would it be better if the guy could move more and put that kind of pressure? But that doesn't, I saw the sack number, but I didn't see the pressures number. I didn't see, all the other things that go around to forcing the quarterback to throw the ball earlier and that sort of stuff. But my immediate reaction, without ever knowing anything about this guy, is the Jets don't have any defensive ends who can stop plays from going wide. And yeah, they're going to draft somebody with the first pick, whoever that's going to be. We still don't know, although seems to have been really zeroed in now, at least by a lot of people. But they have a real gaping hole on both sides of the line as far as stopping the run. And they're going to have to do something about that with defensive linemen and with linebackers, because we know we knew how bad they were with linebackers to begin with, and now we also know they've got to really find some guys, and this will probably come in free agency, I would think, which brings up another interesting point, because I was watching what's his name, who did it was actually somebody else, somebody who did an evaluation last week of the Jets and their needs and whatever, and he was being interviewed by the Jets at their stand at the meetings. And he talked about the Jets spreading the money pretty widely in free agency.
Oh, yes. Let me just jump in. That is NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. He was with Jets senior reporter Eric Allen, and Eric Allen said, wow, the Jets have a lot of money. What do you think the Jets are going to do with it? Right. And Ian Rappaport says he did not think that the Jets would just swing for three guys.
He said he thought they should.
Right. It's his opinion.
So what I did is, because everybody is aware of this, the New England Patriots followed the pattern that Rappaport suggested. And I looked at how many players they signed in free agency last year, and what they paid these guys. And I can kind of go down the list for you. I copied it, but basically they threw big money at about 2 or 3 guys, and they had $125 million to spend. But I believe they signed 14 players altogether.
And I think it was over $200 million in guaranteed money. So not just for that year.
That's long term, but
crazy.
For cap purposes this year, I was interested. Well, how much do they have to spend? So if the Jets have $90 million to spend, it is an interesting idea to get good players all over the field, especially on defense. When you've got that kind of money, and really not extend yourself long term necessarily. You might do 2-year deals instead of 4 or 5-year deals with these guys, and it might cost you $6, $7, $8 million for each player, but you can make hay with that and really strengthen a lot of areas, which the Jets definitely need to do.
No question about it, they need to do. So let's get into the actual trade here. I've talked about it in a couple different other shows, but not in Boy Green Daily because it happened after the show yesterday. Again, it's a rare player-for-player swap. It's Jermaine for T'Vondre Sweat. Jermaine was in, again, as I just mentioned a second ago, he was in or is in the last year of his deal. So he wasn't getting extended this offseason by the New York Jets. He just turned 27 years of age in January. And he had this last year that whether he was on the Jets or now on the Titans, which will become official in a couple weeks, he was going to play out this deal and then see what's up, like whether good or bad because of the injuries. And then after the season at 28, then you decide whether or not to pay him. I don't know if the Jets would have paid Jermaine. The player, the person, all that, I love all that with Jermaine. But the fact of the matter is, he had a serious enough cap number that they could get rid of. Edge rusher was already a need with Jermaine. They were 31st last year in sack production. They had 26 sacks last year, and he was one of the main straws that stirred the drink, and they weren't able to get that level of production, and eventually got to play the cap game. So you move on from Jermaine. You bring in a clear need. You have T'Vondre Sweat. You're moving to a 3-4. You needed a big fatty in the middle to play nose tackle, which is funny that, he's getting made fun of for being fat, but we need him to be fat to fill in the role of what we're looking for. And now I think defensive tackle / nose tackle, for the most part, is done. You have Harrison Phillips. You have T'Vondre Sweat. You have Jawan Briggs. There's veterans. There's youth here. I love the combination. I feel great about the room. Maybe you can add one more young guy later if you want, but it's no longer a primary need. However, edge rusher is now a much more primary need than it was yesterday, which I think all but assures that this number 2 overall pick will go to an edge rusher. I think this was a good trade for the Jets. They saved money. They got younger. T'Vondre Sweat, as you mentioned, has a cheap team control not only for 2026, but 2027 as well. And you mentioned the secret sauce, which is Carl Dunbar. It was Mike Herndon who joined me. He's our Titans insider. And he said he has followed T'Vondre Sweat's entire career, not just with the Titans. He's a Texas Longhorns fan. So he saw T'Vondre coming in from high school to college. And he said that sometimes you saw the issues people were talking about, but when he had the right coaching staff around him, he exploded. And he was mentioning Steve Sarkisian and getting the best out of T'Vondre Sweat and what that ended up resulting in. Obviously, he was a top 40 pick in the draft. So to me, I think it was a good move for the New York Jets. I wish Jermaine the best. I think he's going to be better coming off his Achilles this year, and they'll be better for it. But I think overall, this was a good deal for the Jets. Your thoughts, Bob?
Yeah, we'll see once the season starts. It'll make it a lot harder to run up the middle. With Sweats and whoever. Well, and Harrison Phillips, certainly next to him will be a terrific pair because Harrison Phillips is also a run stopper. But you got to get those edge rushers, and you also have to strengthen the linebacking core because if they get past the defensive ends, going on the left side or the right side, you got to have a linebacker ready there or a safety ready to take on, the running back and stop them cold. So there'll be a lot of play action, against them, and a lot of draw plays against them. Because you may not be able to stop Sweats, but you can certainly put a body on the side of him to kind of not allow him to get in on the tackle. When you do draw plays and such. Overall, I think it probably was a fair trade for the Jets. I don't mean fair to both sides. I mean, it remained in my mind. It remains to be seen, how effective they overall will be. But they're going to bring in players, and again, to me, Dunbar is the secret sauce. And again, he's seen it all. He's been with guys, who've got weight. He's been with guys who may have off-field issues and such. And I can see him taking this kid aside and said, "Hey, I want to work with you. I want to tell you about. I worked with this guy. I worked with that guy, and they made a lot of money, following my direction and." After next year, you're going to be in a position to make a ton of money because you're already pretty good at what you do. And I can elevate you several steps beyond that.
And maybe not to say this so bluntly, but, if T'Vondre Sweat can't hit it with Carl Dunbar, then quite frankly, who can he hit it with? Yeah. So again, I think that's an important piece to the puzzle in all of this. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, there's a lot more free agency. There's a lot more. There's all of it because it hasn't happened yet. So there's a lot that is still left to be said about this offseason, trades, things of that free agency, the draft, of course. So I'm curious to see sort of where we go here. But again, the trade is struck, and man, Bob, boop, pause. Darren Muji is quite the trader. This is, I believe, his 8th player trade since getting here, and he was only here a year ago. Like, man, it seems like that's going to be part of his DNA.
Is this only his second with Tennessee?
Who, T'Vondre Sweat?
Yeah. No. Muji. Because obviously
Tennessee,
he got his,
what do you mean? Oh, trades with Tennessee you're talking about.
Yeah,
I see. Yeah. So there's Jarvis Brownlee. There's him. I think those are the only two right now. I'll have to double check. Zach Rosenblatt posted the list of previous trades. I think so, but they do obviously have a working relationship, and it is both of those trades were with Mike Borgonzi, obviously, who's the new general manager, relatively speaking.
Although
so
Robert
yes,
Saleh has a great deal to do with this deal yesterday.
I think so too. And to be honest, and I asked this to each of the Titans people. Again, you guys can listen to the interviews after. I said, "So, are we about to be doing another conversation here in a couple of weeks? Are we striking another trade? Is something else happening?" Because this isn't breaking news, Bob. But as soon as Robert Saleh went to Tennessee, a lot of us speculated, like, okay, is Robert going to call up his old team and say, "Hey, I'll take a couple of my old defensive buddies that are just still hanging around there"? So it made a lot of sense for sure to go in this direction, and thus they did. So I guess that part of the trade wasn't that surprising. that they came from that direction. But one thing, Bob, we have to talk about here on the show. I don't know what else you have on your bingo card, but unfortunately, this is on the bingo card. And I just say SMH. Shake my head. You know,
You're not going to talk about the video, are you?
unfortunately, I am. And, when I saw this yesterday, I have the NFL Combine. So I have a beautiful setup here. Shout out to my fiance. It's a wonderful setup, and I really appreciate it. And I have this projector here, and I was watching the NFL Combine yesterday after I was finishing up with Boy Green Meets Woody and doing some of the Titans interviews I had to catch up on, and going through that entire process. I got to a point where I was just looking up every once in a while. I'm in the middle of work, but looking up, watching the drills. And then I hear, and by the way, the Jets were quite the popular team yesterday on air, which makes sense because yesterday for the first on-field workouts, the defensive linemen and linebackers working out, which again, if you're a Jets fan, something to pay attention to for obvious reasons. The Jets have the number 2 overall pick, and the full expectation before this Jermaine Johnson trade was that the Jets would pluck one of their choice of these guys there. Without Jermaine Johnson, it becomes a near certainty. You never know. The draft is a crazy world. We'll see what happens in free agency. Maybe some trade action can happen here too. But every time, obviously, that the Jets were mentioned, my ears perked up. Oh, what do they have to say about the Jets? What news is in here on the Jets? Well, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was trying to hope it wasn't true. But, folks, there was a viral moment at the NFL Combine yesterday, and, well, let me not say it for you. Before
you show it,
yeah,
Bobby Jr. called me up and said, were you just watching the NFL Combine?
Yeah.
He awakened me from my afternoon nap.
I love naps.
Go ahead and show it.
Folks, this went viral at the NFL Combine yesterday because of course it did.
50 prospects as Aaron Glenn looks on for the Jets. Fernando Mendoza 1. Jeremiah Love, who we'll also see on Saturday here on NFL Network, the running back from Notre Dame 2. And then number 3 is David Bailey of Texas Tech.
Okay. All right. Well, for folks, our audio-only listeners, let me explain what just happened there, because you just heard Rich Eisen's voice. You're like, oh, what happened? Well, the cameras will randomly cut to the suites. Every team has their own suite. Jets, Bengals, every team has a suite. And throughout the broadcast of Rich Eisen and Daniel Jeremiah, they talk about every team. Naturally, makes sense. They'll be like, all right, what are the Bengals going to do? And they show a shot of the Bengals and maybe like studiously looking at the field and shaking heads. Yes, of course. Yeah. It's normally just supposed to be B-roll. Nothing else. Yet in this particular case, the cameras cut up to AG. He has his right hand balled up in a fist pressed against his face, and the camera angle appears to show Aaron Glenn's eyes were closed. And I counted 5 seconds went by of Aaron Glenn's eyes being closed, and then suddenly it's almost like you wake up from a power nap. You're like, oh, I'm here. Nothing's going on. And there's a lot of speculation out there that someone almost like kicked AG under the table, because you could see it behind AG in the shot. Obviously, the NFL Network has exclusive coverage of the Combine. So in every suite, they're showing the NFL Network's coverage of the Combine. So behind AG of his hand on his face and potentially sleeping. I'll put up a poll if you guys think he was sleeping or not. And AG was in the room. So if other people were in the suite, they were like, what the? AG. And, sorry. Here I am.
I had two reactions.
Okay. And one more here. Beat reporter, it's okay. A lot of people made a lot of jokes on social media that Aaron Glenn was sleeping at the Combine during this most important day for the Jets selections, and AG has caught a lot of heat. So 99% of the reaction has been negative, but there's 1%. Beat reporter Nick Ferry of JetsXFactor.com. And he says, guys, what are we talking about here? Aaron Glenn is clearly looking at a screen in front of him, That's what he's looking at. His eyes are down. He's looking at a screen. So they're not closed. They're just like squinted closed. And he's looking down at a screen. And I'm like, I rewatched the video and I'm like, wow, I don't see that, but I hope you're right, Nick Faria. So anywho, Bob, what was your two thoughts?
Well, after I saw the video, which Bobby Jr. sent to me,
yeah,
I had two reactions. Number one, I felt sorry he didn't have a pillow. And secondly, if I were Woody Johnson, I would be calling the NFL office today and saying, hey, don't you ever embarrass us like that.
Right.
I really mean that.
Yeah.
Because it was unnecessary. They could have had the camera on him and the producer could have clearly said, no, don't do that because it'll be embarrassing. And I'll bet you he's not the only guy of his age at the combine working from early in the morning, because I heard yesterday there were people with meetings, whatever, at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, who was kind of, feeling it by late afternoon, which, I mean, it didn't start till I think 4 o'clock.
Central. 3 o'clock. Yeah. Oh, we have 4 Central. Correct. Right.
Yeah. So actually 3 o'clock Eastern, which would be, no, it would be Central time in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So, I just think that the Jets had cause really to call the NFL and say, hey, don't ever embarrass us like that.
How does this keep happening, Bob?
What was the point? I mean,
it was a dick move.
You could clearly see, hard to see because he had glasses on, but you could almost clearly see that he was asleep. And that suddenly he had that jerky movement, which we know all too well, from watching other people do that. But I just thought it was unnecessary to do that to the Jets.
And this isn't the first time. Everyone, of course, for the Super Bowl brought up Sam Darnold Seahawks. Like that, when Sam Darnold was on the Jets playing against the Patriots on Monday Night Football, and he says, I'm seeing ghosts out there. That is, for people who have played football forever, ghost is a very common term we use all the time. It means, again, you're sensing fake pressure that isn't there. Like, that is a very common football term. Sam Darnold didn't make this up out of the blue, but him saying it, and the Jets and Patriots, and they're easy to dunk on. ESPN releases the mic'd clip of Sam Darnold doing that, and the Jets were livid. They lit up ESPN's people saying, why would you do that? That's unbelievable. What the hell? And they had a very contentious relationship there for a little bit. It does feel messed up. And I agree with you. Let me just, because a lot of people are dunking on AG right now. And again, from a perception, it's not a great look. It's not a great look at all that the Jets defensive linebackers, this is going to be the number 2 overall pick, and AG is falling asleep. But I would also say this, that the actual impact of it, like AG will be able to miss anything that he saw on the back of his eyelids. He's going to be able to see, of course, they're going to do all this great work, and that 5 seconds there is not going to affect who the Jets pick. But from a perception standpoint, I get it. It's embarrassing. People are writing all these articles and columns, and we're talking about it here on the show of like, oh, boy, this looks stupid. But I will also say this for AG, to what you just said. These guys are working, dusk till dawn, doing all these kind of appointments. And the
and late into the night, because, you don't want to waste a minute. With things that could get done, that whether it's talking to players, talking to agents, are making arrangements on deals like they obviously did yesterday.
Yeah.
And obviously this thing happened in the last couple of days because Cimini also, showed quotes from Robert Saleh from a couple of days ago where he talked about sweats, and it was all positive. So, anyway, it was just unfortunate that had to be made public like that.
For sure. No. And like I said, you said it earlier, but these guys are working from night till dawn. And I just want to say this. I am a football nerd. I admit this. My partner that I do other shows with on the MC Show digital channel thinks I'm crazy for watching a second of the NFL Combine. I watch not just a second. I watch all of it, pillar to post. I've got the projector ready for today's coverage at 3 o'clock. I'm going to be glued to my seat. So I watch it. But to the common person, I can accept what I am. And to the common person, be like, wow, these guys are sort of running around out there in their underwear. So think about that from AG's perspective, right? He's doing this for like 12 hours a day, and he's just like staring at these guys, 40-yard dash, 40-yard dash, 40-yard dash, 40-yard dash. It is what it is. To me, with all I wish Nick Ferry was right. I don't think he is. I think very clearly the camera shows that he was looking at the back of his eyelids. It's a terrible look. It stinks. I wish the NFL wouldn't have shown that. NFL in terms of NFL Network. They did show it, and now this is just another thing. And this is where I just go like, wow, AG dances on the sideline week 3. And again, I didn't mind it in that moment. Hey, if you want to make fun of anyone, make fun of me. I was the one dancing around too back here during play-by-play. So that's fine. But you just consider everything that's there. The dancing week 3 on the sideline, his defense immediately gives up the win. Hold on to the rope. Superpowers, winners, Justin Fields, coaching. There's just been so much crap, and this is just now another one on top of the pile, which is, as a Jets fan, it just feels like we can't help ourselves. We just
it brings back a phrase from years ago, probably before your time, and that's right now AG can't win for losing.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And everything he does is under the microscope, and everything he does has a negative connotation to it, whether it's negative or not. The comment about his superpower and that, my first reaction was to laugh. But then I thought about it and I said, okay, his track record, according to people who've watched it, is that, as he was coaching and calling plays for the defense for the Lions, they got better year to year to year. And especially the last year when he basically lost, half or 2/3 of his defensive starters, including his best pass rusher, in the first, 3-4 games of the season. So, maybe there's something to it. Now, to be honest with you, and I don't know if you were going to bring it up, I didn't necessarily believe a word he said about him going to Woody and saying, I'm going to coach the defense, and I'm going to call the plays. I didn't believe that for a second. And I just thought it was, not really believable, but I've heard a number of people this week who said no, it does make sense and such. And Samini quoted Glenn as saying that his first choice for defensive coordinator said, "Okay, you can call the defensive plays. It's okay. I'm cool with that." And yet he still didn't go with him, and he went with the other guy from Miami. So who's to say? But hey. He's going to be our coach. There's no doubt about it. Our friend Carl talks about it all the time. We need to stop focusing and complaining about Aaron Glenn being the coach, because he is the coach. And no matter what we do, it's his team this year. Let's hope that he does a better job and that the team improves. But we'll see.
By the way, folks, feel free to vote. We've put up a poll, one of the most important polls in Boy Green Daily history, live here on the show. Was Jets head coach Aaron Glenn caught sleeping in 4K at the Combine? Yes, clearly he was sleeping. Or no, come on, guys, he was looking down. Right now, it's 57% to 43%. A slight lean towards sleeping. Again, I think he was sleeping very clearly, but maybe not. I don't know. But
you should put up a separate poll, and that is, do you think he missed anything?
Yeah, right. It is funny because people were making the joke that, when he suddenly seemingly woke up, it was a fast 40-yard dash from David Bailey. He said, there's a sign of something. Like he was like, whoa, look at this.
Somebody said, hey, Aaron, he's running now. Wake up.
Yeah, or just he sort of sensed that David Bailey was running this fast 40, so he awoke from his slumber. That I'm uncertain of. But so folks, feel free to vote on that throughout the show. We'll get to it. All right, we have a bunch of super chats and other comments, so let's go through these piece by piece here. Meadowland Swamp Thing, he's been a member for 19 months on the channel. Thank you.
Wow.
Bailey is too old. The pick has to be Reese. And let's pull up all the particulars here. David Bailey is, of course, out of Texas Tech. He's 22. He will be 23 by the start of the 2026
season. Wow, he's getting gray, and he's really getting gray.
Yep, that makes me feel old. Arvel Reese is 20 years of age. He will be 21 by the start of the season. So basically, there's a 2-year gap between them in terms of football, for whatever that means for people. And I will tell you, NFL teams do consider that.
And by the way, more and more you hear, and Reese might be the pick, but more and more you hear that Reese has the least amount of experience, as a pass rusher. Mm-hmm. And he even talked about in the video that was released the other day, he talked about being moved all over the field by his coach. And so he was playing the edge, he was playing middle linebacker, he was all over the field because he's so athletic and so good at what he does that they didn't want to limit him to one position where they would know where he is and they could easily try to block him. It was much easier, but much more difficult to do when he's here on this play and here on that play and such. So.
Yeah, to be honest, we're going like, David Bailey, Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain, like everyone's arguing. I'm very split at this point. And after yesterday's events, there's just a lot of different directions you could go. I'm not sold on anything yet. What I need is more knowledge. So I'm going to try to bring on as many draft experts as we can to explain the strengths and weaknesses, and hopefully that helps guide me here. Luckily, I don't have to make the pick ever. So if I never am guided in any direction, they're still going to pick somebody. But I do hope I'm more knowledgeable.
I also have kind of indicated in and around Sweat, this is not, you can't just look at that one pick or any one position or one player they sign as pivotal. Yeah. This is putting together a puzzle. Okay. Unless they're about to go out and sign every all-pro at every position, which is not going to happen. This is a puzzle they're putting together that they're hoping is going to fit, nicely piece by piece. And that's how it has to be looked at.
Yes, absolutely. Let's go to another one here. We got a bunch of super chats coming in. EZ is up next. Thank you for the $2 super chat, EZ.
Wow.
EZ with the $2 super chat. He says the trade phones will ring for the number 2 pick and Darren Muji will answer. Bob, do you believe that the Jets will have interest in trading back for the number 2 overall pick?
I think they'll have interest. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think at this point. I hope I'm wrong. By the way, 7 raffle tickets for you, EZ, this month. I don't think there's going to be the blockbuster offer like there would be for the Raiders.
Because there is no obvious guy at number 2 that people are lusting for. So.
Right. Even we as Jet fans are like, it's this guy, it's this guy, it's this guy. Yeah. If we're all saying it's this guy, this guy, this guy, then why is someone moving up to make our decision easier for us? So, again, if the Raiders move the number 1 pick, they would have countless offers of multiple firsts. Could the Jets move it for a little less? Right? Do they say, you know what, let's say they like all 3 people. They like Miami's Ruben Bain Jr. They like Texas Tech's David Bailey. They like Ohio State's Arvell Reese, and they're all graded similarly. If you could trade back to 4 or 5, however the distance where you're guaranteed to still get one of the 3, whatever the combination is, someone is willing to move up and give you a 3rd round pick or something, and you say to yourself, all right, works for us. We get a 3rd and we get whatever one. We feel great about all of them. So we could maybe get the same guy 2 that we could get at 5. That makes a lot of sense. So maybe that could exist easy, but we'll see if the Jets decide to do that. Darren Muji seems to be a his price kind of guy. I mean, look at Breece Hall, Jermaine Johnson. At the deadline, it was reported that the Jets wanted a 2 for Jermaine. A 3 was offered. That wasn't good enough. No trade happened. Breece Hall, I want a 3. A 4 was the best offer. A trade did not happen. So he seems like a his price kind of guy. So I'd be curious.
He traded for a number 2 yesterday.
He did. That's funny, right? He ends up getting the. That's
and there was a story yesterday that the Commanders are looking to trade back and even back to 16. So there might be something that could be done there.
Yeah, maybe that would be pretty interesting to do. But of course, Bob, before the draft is free agency. Let's get another super chat in here. This one's from Troy Sturgis.
Wow.
Who is the biggest get at defensive end in free agency? I'm glad you asked this, Troy, because we have done shows on this with the top 50 free agents that are available, and here they are. Here are the top defensive ends, because now, again, we're going to be swimming in some of these waters here. So Trey Hendrickson is the top edge available. He'll be 31 by the start of the 2026 season. Personally, let's do this, Bob. I'm going to bring up the name, and you tell me if you have any interest in this player.
Too injured. Too much recent history of injury.
Yeah. I agree. And he's, with all due respect, getting a little older. I think he's going to want a contender. And at this point, I don't think anyone's calling the Jets
a contender. He's going to want too much money for what he can probably give you.
Now we start swimming in the pool of interesting. Jalen Phillips, a Philadelphia Eagles pass rusher, formerly of the Miami Dolphins. He will be 27 by the start of the 2026 season. 6'5", very talented. What do you make of him? Do you want any Jalen Phillips?
I don't know. What did the Eagles give up to Miami at the trade deadline?
A third, I believe.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. Again, you're about to hear this, Troy, as I'm going through these names. There's a lot of people that are in this bucket that they're going to be around this age, heading into their 27 age seasons, and going to be available. Jalen Phillips is on this list. Odafe Owe is on this list. He's the Chargers pass rusher. He's on this list as well. There's only one defensive tackle in ESPN's top 50. That's John Franklin Myers. I think he's going to get overpaid. And again, I think the Jets are pretty set at defensive tackle now, even though JFM can play a little bit on the edge too. So I would and then there's older guys. There's Khalil Mack's on this list. There's Joey Bosa's on this list that are older pass rushers. One that's sort of intriguing is Kayvon Chason. He's on the New England Patriots. He's coming off a career year again in that same bucket of he'll be 27 by the start of the 2026 season. I just don't know what's real. He's had 2 nice seasons, but he was a draft bust before of Jacksonville, so I'm just not sure what's true. Boye Mafe out of the Seattle Seahawks, again, same group. He'll be 27 by the start of the 2026 season. The Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks, he's on this list. I'd probably, if I had a gun to my head right now and had to pick the guy, and you're asking for it, the top guy, it's a coin flip between Jalen Phillips of the Eagles and Odafe Owe of the Chargers, and I would probably lean Owe, but both are intriguing and both would be massive upgrades for the New York Jets.
It all comes down to the money, because and what their philosophy is. And as I think about it more and more, I think Muji is kind of the guy that's going to want to bring in pieces rather than make a lot of big splashes. People said yesterday, well, they'll make a big splash at quarterback. I'm not convinced of that. Somebody outrageously was talking about Willis getting, I don't know, $30 or $40 million a year.
Dan Orlovsky thinks he's going to get $40 to $50 million per year, and I'm like, what?
And it's not going to be for 1 year.
Oh, definitely not.
And if you're really committed to getting that quarterback next year, why would you want to sign a guy who you're going to have to give probably a 3-year contract to, unless they give him the kind of contract that they gave Darnold in Seattle, where it's a big spend the first year, but the following years are easily achievable. So I think that Rappaport really nailed it, that for the $90 million that they've got, and we know they got to spend 50, but they're going to spend more than 50. Get yourself some really good quality players who will fit the scheme. And that's the other thing. They're going to have a different scheme next year than they had this year, which also goes to the point of, somebody said yesterday, why didn't AG, if he loves calling plays, why didn't he call plays for the last 3 or 4 games? Well, at what point, at that point, he needed a new defensive coordinator, and he was basically just slotting in his defensive back coach to be the defensive coordinator. And there really was no purpose. What was he going to prove by calling plays, with a slip shot, last second, end of the season defensive scheme? It made no sense at all.
Hey, let's give a shout out here. Mark Sacchetti says, did I get his Espresso Club membership? It did not come through, but I saw the green name change recently, Mark, so let's get to it. Mark, that's what I'm talking about.
It's Jets, Jets. I love Fireman Ed, too.
Mark, welcome to the Boy Green Espresso Club. You just picked up 5 raffle tickets for our contest this month. And again, as long as you stay a member of the Boy Green Espresso Club, you will get 5 raffle tickets for every contest for the rest of the time, as long as you remain a member. So congratulations and welcome to the Espresso Club.
Kevin James. I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your
shout out to Mark. And for folks that are new around here, my name is Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. My partner in crime down there is Bob Lederer, who joins us every Friday. We have over 400 people watching the show across a variety of social media platforms. Thank you, including 200 on YouTube. Wow, we've got a lively bunch this morning, which I very much appreciate. The free way to contribute is by liking the video, folks. Also, feel free to hit that subscribe button, baby. We're only a few away from 8,400. We've been putting out a ton of content, and hopefully you guys can enjoy it. And folks, for anyone that is on the fence of pushing it to the next level, you're a subscriber to the channel, but you're thinking about membership, there are 2 membership levels available. $2.99, that's a Boy Green Coffee Club. That's the OGs. You see it on your screen. Loyalty badges, emoji, early access to new videos, which happened yesterday for a lot of the people with our Tennessee Titans videos on Devondre Sweat. Member shoutouts, priority reply. But we've created a new membership level last month. It's called the Boy Green Espresso Club. And every month we do a private Espresso Club meeting where we talk about all kinds of things. We're going to talk about my nearly making it on a game show where, Bob, you would have had to host Boy Green Daily. I would have been on a game show. I'm going to explain all those juicy details on Saturday, tomorrow. And I may still get on that game show. So I've got a whole crazy story to tell about that. And the last meeting we did, I didn't know how long it was going to be. It went 4.5 hours. We talked about family, life, Jets, everything in between. So it's some exclusive content for you guys in the audience. So Mark, welcome to the show. I hope you and others get a good kick out of it. We have nearly 30 members now to the Boy Green Espresso Club, which I'm very happy about. It'll be live tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. You guys, if you go to the live section, you will see it. It says members only video. That is for you guys to join. You guys can either call in or just hang out in the comments. No pressure either way. So, Mark, welcome to the Army, and thank you for highlighting this. If any of you ever buy a Boy Green Coffee Club membership or espresso and you don't hear me say it on the show, then somehow it slipped through the cracks. So make sure that you get it highlighted. I don't want anyone to miss out there. So shout out to Mark. All right, beautiful. Some extra Espresso Club members. Very nice. Also, EZ is part of that Espresso Club. So we'll see EZ tomorrow night on the show as well. Some other super chats coming through here, Bob. Your buddy Chef Kevin Gilbert, fastest food reviews, chimes in.
Wow.
Chef Kevin Gilbert with the $5 super chat here says, give AG a break. He was tired from hiring coaches to replace the one he originally hired. Ah, I see.
Okay, I guess we give him some credit for that.
Yeah, that one was funny. I will definitely. Hey, Chef Kevin Gilbert is
Chef Kevin Gilbert could be very, very instrumental in a new feeding diet, for sweats. And I think you should volunteer at Florham Park, to help start building a salad regimen for him, just so he doesn't get too big.
Yeah, but I don't want him to get too small either. I don't want him to get too small.
No,
so he needs to stay healthy.
When you said they both have to pass their physical,
yeah,
I can't imagine what kind of a physical Sweats has to go through to get approved.
He's going to be sweating. I can confirm.
Well, I mean, the condition. What kind of condition can you be when you eat like that all the time? And it doesn't sound like he's getting on the elliptical or getting on the treadmill, very often, if at all. So, I really wonder. I mean, the pressure, and I'm not a doctor, but the pressure on the heart when you're that big has got to be immense.
Yeah, so we will see. He's played at that weight for a while, so the good news is that he's used to it. So this is not a new thing. He did not suddenly just burst on the scene of 366 pounds. Actually, interesting story. I hadn't heard this, so shout out to Mike Herndon, one of my Devondre Sweat interviews in the video section. When Devondre Sweat showed up to Texas, he was 220 pounds and a linebacker, and they moved him to nose tackle ultimately. And so talk about that diet plan. And I hadn't heard that. So when he said that, I'm like, wait, what did you just say? He was a linebacker and he was how much weight?
And they told him to put on some weight?
Apparently
he took it seriously.
Apparently he did. He ate another person, for God's sake. So, wow, that's unbelievable. So, again, I will say this. He's super talented. He's exactly what we need in the middle, and we will see. And, again, yeah, I agree. Mark Cichetti, watch the tape. He is a beast. I've seen some big-time plays. So, he's, again, you heard it from Easton Freeze, who's a beat reporter for the Titans. He just has unique size. God does not make him like that, where he can have that weight where you go, oh, man, he must just lay on the couch all day.
Comparisons to him to Jenkins Chris Jenkins.
Oh my God! Please,
Yeah.
please, as a Jets fan, give me Sione Pua. Give me Chris Jenkins. Give me Damon Snacks Harrison. We have missed
Or
having that
what was
kind
his
of
name?
guy.
Nagata on Baltimore.
100%. Like, that's what we need. That kind of, Haloti Nada, who EC likes to bring up. Like, having that kind of goose, Tony Saragusa, God rest his soul, having that kind of big man just in the middle, eating up space and creating pass rushing opportunities. Like, that is like exciting. So, I'm really excited to have him in here. Again, it sucks for JJ because I like JJ a lot, but good luck to him in Tennessee. I will not be rooting for him when the Jets, of course, another revenge game's on the schedule. The Jets will travel to Tennessee to play against Jermaine Johnson and Robert Saleh and Aaron Whitecotton and every other Jet that is now over there. So that should be interesting. Another super chat here. This is from Frankie jumping in.
Wow.
Wow,
Frankie,
this is just adding on to
it's going in another direction here, but yes,
phone call.
Yeah, Frankie with a $5 super chat says AG needs a CPAP machine. Sleep deprivation could affect his play calling, which is his superpower, I've heard. So thank you, Frankie, for your concerns on this matter. Let's try to, again, the jokes write themselves. It is what it is. Again, I think, regardless of what Nick Ferrier says, I do believe he indeed was sleeping. And now this is the bed he must sleep in, which he apparently has no problem doing. So thank you, Frankie, for that. You have 8 raffle tickets to our contest. I appreciate that.
I guess the adrenaline wasn't enough. It wasn't exciting enough to be at the combine.
Apparently not. I have not gone to the combine yet, but it's on my bucket list. I imagine I am going to be giddy over the moon whenever that happens, and hopefully it does.
Seriously, when you're in that kind of an environment, and there is so much activity going around you, I know there'll be times, and again, I'm a lot older than AG is. Sure. There are times where I'm kind of, falling off, and I'll have a 2:00 meeting. Yeah. And for 45 minutes, I've got to be on, and the adrenaline is flowing, and I'm asking questions and answering questions and whatever. And I'm much more wide awake when it's over than I was before it started. So, it surprises me, but again, the hours are the hours.
For sure. Let's highlight a few more comments here, and then we can answer anything else on Bob's ledger, get to the phone lines and everything else in between. Nangi Boko says, my favorite drill is the run the hoop. BG should do this drill for charity. Now, I will just say this in case it's not clear to anyone in the universe. If Jermaine Johnson is on the scale and T'Vondre Sweat is on the scale, I am much closer to the T'Vondre Sweat than I am the Jermaine Johnson. I would love to get back in shape and raise money for charity is obviously something I'm always for. We've done wonderful work, and shout out to my father. He deserves all the credit. I deserve none of it. I just love the work we've been able to do for the Wounded Warrior Project of raising a couple thousand for charity at our Jets home game last year. So thank you to Pop for his contributions there. And if we can find creative ways, like whether it's a tailgate or something else to raise money for charity and make me look like a goofball, I am all for it. So Nanga, let's keep that in the notes section somewhere, and maybe we can run some combine or something and raise money for, maybe I could get with Rich Eisen, we can raise some money for St. Jude's or something. We'll see what happens there. NC Green says, was he there by himself, referencing AG in the combine room? No, it is a full suite. So Darren Muji's in there. Woody Johnson normally is in there if the owners are there. Sometimes they're not there. Your full scouting department, pro personnel staff, like you're having probably between 15 and 22 people that are in that room. Now, they're not in there at all times. They don't have an electric shock collar to leave the room. They could leave at any time. But again, awful announcing.
I believe a number of them might be down on the field while the guys are
correct. Carl Dunbar, speaking of, shout out to Optimistic Jets. I don't know if you saw this, Bob, with the NFL Combine coverage. Carl Dunbar was on the field yesterday working with the defensive lineman and linebacker. That's a secret sauce of, again, I use this term called touch points. Touch points, Senior Bowl, Pro Day, everything. They're all opportunities to interact with the prospects, and you can gain information. Carr Dunbar working with all these defensive linemen and linebackers, he's going to see things that are on camera that we're all seeing with the drills, and he's going to see how they're interacting with just the staff at the combine. Are they being jerks? Are they being good people, bad people? How are they responding to adversity when they run a 40 and it's not the time they wanted? How do they handle it? How do they go for the second run? So, man, I think there's a lot of available information for some of these Jets coaches that are down there. So, no, AG was not by himself, and there's a full room here happening at the combine. Luby, Super Jets fans, giving some credit to AG. I love this. Glenn, falling asleep doesn't bother me. It makes me happy to know he's running around the clock so much that he could fall asleep. He said, I don't think AG's good, but still. I appreciate the honesty. He's not an AG guy in terms. He will be when the season starts. Luby has made that very clear. But he would have preferred AG to get fired, and he's even defending him. That's nice, Bob. That's a nice touch.
Well, he's our coach, so let's stop the piling on, of criticism.
Yeah, that's what NC Green said too. Of course, they found AG sleeping. Always something to embarrass the Jets, and seemingly we run into these. I don't know how this happens literally all the time. And by the way, let me check the poll real quick. What are we up to on the poll of whether or not you guys thought he was sleeping? Was Jets head coach Aaron Glenn caught sleeping in 4K at the NFL Combine? That's a pinned poll right now on our channel. Yes, clearly sleeping, or no, he was looking down, which is what beat reporter Nick Ferry of Jets X Factor argued. He's at the Combine, so maybe he saw a different angle than I'm unaware of, but 64% of you said yes, he was clearly sleeping. So appreciate that we can have kind of polls on February 27th.
It was a power nap.
A power nap, right? It's not like he was horizontal and wow. I didn't see that. I didn't see Z's coming out of him like a movie. I did not see him, although I saw that people were putting AG in like nightgowns at the combine, making teams like you could just laugh. There's nothing else to do.
Yeah. Well, you can laugh so you don't cry. Yeah,
that's exactly it. Bob, before we go to any phone lines, is there anything else you want?
Yeah, I think there's an interesting question that's in front of all of us, and that is,
sure,
will the Jets reach a contract with Breece Hall before Tuesday, or are they just going to tag him?
What's your gut say, Bob?
Tag.
I do too. Because, again, I just think it behooves Breece. Again, unless the Jets blow your socks off with an offer and your agent goes, we're not doing better than this, then if you're Breece, as long as he wants to be a Jet, I suppose, which Muji indicated he does.
No, 12 million, 14 million. 12 million is apparently the going rate that people estimate that he's worth, and 14 is the tag.
Yeah.
If I were him, unless he wants to get out of, get away from the Jets organization, which I highly suspect he does, why not sign a 2 or 3 year contract, with guaranteed money, and you don't have to worry about it. But I think he wants out. And so he also will understand that by getting tagged, that basically he's going to play out the year here, get paid a nice amount of money, and then he'll fly out of the coop next year.
Hey, I will say this. Luby said this on Boy Green Meets Woody. We opened up the phone lines yesterday. A tag and trade is still possible. So let's say what you say is true, right? So they tag him, and I'll explain why I think they're going to have to tag him, and why I believe
they have to. I mean, you've got to get his services for this year, whether he plays for us or you get compensation for him. Yeah.
Right. So they could still tag and trade him, but let's say they tag him and he's upset and he doesn't want to sign a long-term deal. Their negotiations go south. The Jets are here. He's here. They can't bridge a gap. They could totally tag it. It is still possible. And there was a story that came out about how much the Chiefs really wanted him, but they got arrogant, in my opinion, and they said, we don't have to give up a 3. We're just going to take him from the Jets in free agency. We don't have to pay a draft pick. And now we're tagging him. So now how do you feel, Chiefs, you losers? I can't believe that they had that.
Well, but, they had no way of knowing that Mahomes was going to get hurt. And once Mahomes got hurt, you could have had Jimmy Brown back there, behind the second and third string quarterback, and it wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, no. So, anywho, the reason why I think he's going to be tagged is, again, if I'm Breece, unless the Jets blow my socks off with an offer, which, by the way, I don't anticipate. Why? The Jets aren't going to bid against themselves. Why would they give some crazy market-setting offer? That makes no sense. So since the Jets will not offer that before Tuesday, the Jets will tag him to prevent him from reaching the open market with whatever tag. We will see what happens. There's conflicting reports on which tag they're going to use. They tag him, and now it's serious. Brees can no longer reach free agency, depending on or unrestricted free agency, let's put it that way. So Brees can figure out where it's going to go from there. And if Brees makes it clear he ain't playing for the Jets anymore, then at that point you can explore tag and trade. But I do think it's tag. Hopefully they work on a long-term deal, but we'll see what happens. But I do think a tag happens on Tuesday. I do believe so. And the interesting thing is that seems like the only contract situation that's going to happen with any Jets internal free agents here, Bob. Seems like ABT they're going to let hit the open market, and then he will test what his true value is. John Simpson sounds like is going to test the open market, and then the Jets will play the dance of do either players come? They don't have to, but do John Simpson or ABT, once they get a deal, do they come back and say, hey, Jets, you want to match this? Or do they just go on to their own pastures? That we don't know.
Paul, who are the leading guards in free agency?
I'm glad that you asked that, Bob, because we have that in front of us here on the program for all the free agents. So if we're just talking about guards and we're putting center aside with the whole, we've already talked about a thing with Tyler Linderbaum and the crazy money that could be potentially coming out here. There are several veteran guards that could check off the bucket list for the New York Jets. There's Isaac, and I'm going to butcher this, and I hate butchering names, but Siamalo. Oh, yeah, I actually did get it. Nice. He is the Pittsburgh Steelers guard. He will be 32 by the start of the 2026 season. He's a 10-year veteran, and he's set to leave the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's younger guys like Zion Johnson, the former Boston College product. He'll be 26 by the start of the 2026 season. He comes from the Chargers. He is an option on the table. David Edwards, if you want to hit your division rival, the Buffalo Bills, he is set to be a free agent. He'll be 29 by the start of the 2026 season. He's also in the top 50 free agents that are on the board. Here's a really big name if you know football. The name may not stand out because I don't know how many people know random offensive linemen, but Joel Bitonio of the Cleveland Browns is like a legendary level guard. He has played for 12 years. He started 178 games. He's going to one day go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He announced that he and the Browns will not be back together, and he's seeking a new opportunity. So if you want your Alan Faneca, but from Cleveland, Joel Bitonio might check something off a bucket list for you. Those are the top guard options, Bob Lederer.
I don't know the specifics, but I'm sure he was hurt last year because everybody on Cleveland's offensive line was hurt last year.
Yeah, and I've never heard of this before in history. Every single Brown starter on the offensive line is going to be a free agent this offseason. How does that happen? Like, that's terrible GM-ship that you could even allow that to happen because, hey, what holes do you have to fill? All of them. Like, oh, that sounds like an impossible task.
Well,
to
they filled
rebuild
all five of them during the season because at one point, none of their starters was in the lineup, and so they were using backups.
I don't know, but yeah, so that one will be tough. Mark Sacchetti is saying yes, poach the Browns guard. So yeah, maybe you could get him on a 2-year super deal of like maybe higher money, but you just upgrade at guard, right? John Simpson was nice in year 1, not as nice in year 2. ABT's always hurt, so just get Joel, who's this rock solid veteran, and add him to the line. Sure, why not? You got the money, so that would be intriguing.
Given ABT's injury history, how big a deal do you think he's really going to get?
So everyone tells me that they believe it's a 1-year prove deal. Basically, everyone will offer him the same deal. I think that there's going to be at least one team, and all it takes is one. There's 32 teams in the league. I think there's one team that says they look at Elijah Vera Tucker. They look at this guy that is a former first-round pick. They say, wow, he's 26 and he'll be 27 by the start of the season. He can play every offensive line position, sans center. Let's give him a multi-year deal and let's bet. And then let's have some Tyron Smith level incentives. When the Jets signed Tyron Smith, it was a 1-year deal for $6 million, but it could jump up to $20 million if he played a bunch and did all these other things. For ABT, you get him on, let's say, a 2 or 3 year deal, and it has some base of money, which is why ABT wants to sign some level of security. But the real big buco bucks is built into the incentives. I think a team would be willing to risk it because he's young And your other options in free agency, for the most part, always stink. Everyone has warts. There's reasons why people are free agents. For the most part, there's sometimes rare exceptions, which we talked about with Tyler Linderbaum. But for the most part, a lot of people have warts that are hitting free agency.
Well, but
I think someone bets on it.
But AVT plays a position where the legs and that sort of thing, which as well as injuries have been, are
well, no, triceps, both triceps, though.
Yeah, but I mean those.
They're freaky.
It's hard not to think that he's susceptible to those kind of injuries.
Sure, three of been in the league 5 years. 3 of the 5 season-ending injuries. Yeah, that's the line. That's not great, Bob. I could literally say it for Bob. That's not good news at all. We will see. Again, there's a little voice. Maybe it's schizophrenia. I'll see a doctor about it. There's a little voice saying, "Someone's gonna pay." And I don't know if that's a real voice. Is that made up in my head? I'm not certain. But let's say that voice is wrong and it's just all 1-year prove-it deals. Why the hell would AVT, if every deal is the same, let's say all 32 teams want him for the same deal, why would he come back to the Jets? Again, as a Jets fan, I would hope he would want to come back over here. But if I'm AVT, I could go to a contender. I could go play for the Chiefs. And I know Patrick Mahomes is hurt, but I could go play for the Chiefs for the same money for the Jets. Yeah, I'm going to go to the Chiefs or the Chargers or the 49ers.
But you said it before, he's a West Coast guy too.
Right.
So.
That's what my gut says. So unless the long-term deal comes from some random team, I imagine if I'm AVT, I'd go back to the West Coast. But
well, I hope the Jets re-sign him, but we'll find out.
Anything else, Bob, you want to get to before the fans?
No, not really. It's been a busy week of great speculation and trade yesterday, and even that created quite a ruckus with fans. It really was quite interesting when Jake had the gentleman from Tennessee come on and basically deflate the balloon.
Yeah, for sure. Because again, I'm going to write another story about this on Heavy. It's so crazy the wide range of opinions we have. So again, we have the guy earlier, fat, lazy, sucks. And you're like, all right, there's one opinion. Seth Walder of ESPN, who normally loves hating on the Jets. He hates their guts, it seems. He gave the Jets like an A+ trade, said they clearly won this trade. What a home run hit. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Jermaine Johnson is for the money he's making.
Yeah.
Although I would not bet against him since he'll be a year removed from the Achilles injury, that, he's not worth the $13 million that they have, that Tennessee has to pay him, unless, he really comes back and plays like he did when Robert Saleh was the coach. So, we'll see. That could, I have a suspicion in the end it's going to be a fairly even deal, for both sides, because I think Robert Saleh is going to get as much out of him as can possibly be done.
Yeah, I think so too. So I am again 100% rooting. I'm rooting for him. I am rooting for Jermaine again, as long as he's not playing the New York Jets. Real quick, everybody, again, subscribe right now to the channel. We got 400 people in the room, including 200 of those 400 on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, baby. We are only 3 subscribers away from 8,400. Let's celebrate here live on the show. That would be awesome, and continue to pile on as we get closer and closer, hopefully, to 10,000 subscribers. All right, everybody, we'll do this. We'll play a quick EP timeout from our tailgate last year. When we come back, you guys can call into the program, whether you're a first-time caller or repeat offender. All are welcome here on Boy Green Daily. We'll be back after this.
1, 2, 3. Whoa! Boy Green, fucking daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. Talking Jets football, man. Moron! Boy Green daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. Everyone, J-E-T-S, Jets. Boy Green, fucking daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boy Green, fucking daily. Fucking daily, fucking daily. Nice! Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S, Jets. Let's go! Hey!
man. Let's freaking go, everybody. This is Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. Feel free to call into the show as the pinned comment on youtube.com/boygreen25. We have plenty of callers that want to get involved, and I saw a comment here, and who said that? Who had the question? We just put up a new poll up for whoever just, there it is, from Delray Doc, BG, did you ever do a poll asking Jet fans who their top choice is at defensive end for the number 2 overall pick? Well, I think we did it before, but we'll do it again, baby. So who do you guys want with the number 2 overall pick? It seems like it's down to 3 choices. Miami's Reuben Bain Jr., Ohio State's Arvell Reese, and Texas Tech's David Bailey. Vote right now on our YouTube channel. It is the pinned poll right now, so you guys should be able to vote on that and pick one of your 3 choices. My gut tells me right now that it's Arvell Reese if a gun was to my head. But I've heard people say, no, right now it's David Bailey. No, right now it's Reuben Bain. So everyone has said everybody, so I don't know what the hell is going on. But I guess we'll see what happens there. All right, Bob, let's go to the phone lines here on the program. We'll start it with your boy, Philly Doodles.
Good morning, Philly.
Oh, wait a second. Yep, he's having an issue on one of the technical. There's multiple Philly Noodles down here. All right. You know what they say when you're drunk and there's 3? Hit the one in the middle. So, okay, here we go. Philly Noodles. There he is. All right, good.
All right, is that working?
There's a technical difficulty there for a second. I saw one of you, clicked it, nothing happened. I'm like, what the? Here's another.
I was like,
okay.
I didn't think I was going to be first here. I thought we'd go to Hep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. See you later, Philly. All right. Thanks. Let's go to Hep. Yeah, let's go to Hep. Hep's not even available right now. So, Hep didn't call.
Calling all Hefs.
Well, while we're waiting for Hep to call in, because Philly Noodles has sacrificed his spot like a small lamb. Delray Doc just gifted.
He's the defensive tackle taking up the space.
That's nice. So what a guy. Here we go, baby. That's what I'm talking about, Delray Doc. Hickory Dickory Doc. That's what I'm talking about, baby. There's an Andrew Dice Clay joke in there somewhere that my father would be screaming from the rooftops. Let's get it.
J-E-T-S. Jets.
Yes.
An oldie but goodie.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah, we don't get enough of that. One more.
Number 44.
Woo! 44, that's me!
Get some cold cuts. Get some cold cuts. Get some cold cuts.
Woo! Give me some!
About Delray Doc, that's 5 gifted memberships added to your raffle ticket prizes. Here are the new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. This is Los, Blunt Father, _420. Philip Rinaldi joining us here on the program. 395 Brooklyn here on the program. And Stephen Hendel. You guys are all now members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. And Delray Doc, you have 8 raffle tickets to our contest. Thank you very much. And guys, make sure you vote in our poll of which pass rusher would you prefer with the number 2 overall pick. You guys can continue to vote on that in the comment section. Thank you, Delray Doc, for that. All right. Sorry, pal.
Were you spared from the bomb cyclone this week, or did you get hit too?
We did get hit. Thankfully, it hasn't been too crazy. Like, again, whatever it was, and now all time is blurry. But the one where we were getting 2 or 3 feet of snow, I'm like, Jesus, where am I going to put this snow? I'm going to shove it up, my neighbor, I guess. I don't know where this snow is going to go.
Putting the snow on top of the other snow doesn't really work that well.
It does not. So it hasn't been that bad here, but we did get hit for sure. So, but I guess it's all relative.
I also wanted to tell you early on today.
Sure.
I discovered there's in Oswego, Illinois. I take umbrage that you guys stole the name of our town.
All right. Here's a story. I didn't know I was going to tell this story, but here's a story. So have you ever I was just going to assume that's bad. Have you ever seen the show Prison Break, Bob Lederer?
No.
Okay. So see, I said I was going to assume that you hadn't seen it.
At a Prison Break, I think. Yeah.
It is. And so I watched the show when I was a kid with my parents. And the show, long story short, there's a bunch of people in prison and they break out, and there's all this drama. It's actually a phenomenal show. You guys should see the show. Well, anywho, I saw it when I was a kid, and again, military family. We lived all over the place: Georgia, South Carolina, all these random places. I moved up here to Oswego, New York in 2008 with my family in high school. And, I watched the show when I was younger, and it was fine. And then I rewatched the show when I was here. I was like, oh, man, what a great show. Let me rewatch that. And when they break out for the first time, spoiler alert, prison break, they get out of prison several times. But when they break out of prison, they're on this fork in the road and they're like, man, we need to get to Oswego. And I went, I'm like, what did he just say? And I pause it, rewrite it. We got to get to Oswego. And I'm like, am I having a seizure right now? Like, what did he just say? And then I understood they're talking about Oswego, Illinois. And I went, what? There's
really?
Wow. So what are the chances? That's the only reason I know that there's two. Oswego, with all due respect, I figured there's only one on the planet, and I'm currently in it. But on Prison Break, the show, if people, again, it's an awesome show, and I probably will have to rewatch it again now that it's been brought up again.
Who is the star of that movie?
Michael Schofield, but what's his real name? Let me get the Prison Break cast. Yeah, because that's his name in the show, and then he has his brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Wentworth Miller and Dominic Purcell. Those are all. Sarah Wayne is on the show. Robert Nepper.
Those are memorable.
Oh, sure. Yeah. William Fichtner. He's like in the Batman movie. Yeah, they got a great cast. There's actually a lot of great people in this cast.
But it never made Turner. It never made Turner Classic Movies, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. But anywho, yeah. So the only way I knew is Oswego, and Oswego meant when I was watching it as a kid, I didn't even know what the hell Oswego was. So like that didn't register at all. But when I was living in Oswego and I heard that, I thought I was having a mind lapse. I found out there is an Oswego, Illinois. So that is true. So every time I watch that show now, I'll forever be connected to Oswego, Illinois. So Hep didn't call in, so we'll just give it back to Philly here.
Hey,
Philly.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Philly, you're always number one in our hearts.
See, there
I figured that. I mean, you know what I mean? Every I'm a teacher, so you got to have
But that was very caring of you, though. Like you came on, like, whoa, where's Hep? I'm like, I don't know where the hell.
Aside from getting the grade on a test, what's the best way to get an A in the class?
Yeah,
like got a B average.
Get the hand up fast. Be that kid that I used to be. That kid. If I knew something, my hand was up quick, and they'd be like, "Okay, you again," and I'll be like, "Yep." Like I'm listening, so I'm here.
Hey,
and then I got older, and I was just like,
"Let that be a lesson out there to all you 60-year-olds when you go back to high school."
There you go.
Put that hand up real quick. All right. So real quick about the poll you just put up now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm going. Listen, if we're gonna go out of box where supposedly Caleb Downs could be a pick, it's Sonny Styles at 2. I don't care. That is an athletic freak. That is someone that changes your team for the next decade in the middle of the field, and it's a Pro Bowler probably year in year out. I go Sonny Styles at 2.
Oh wait, okay. So let's ask this question. So I see Frankie sent in the super chat. Let's go to the super chat. I love any draft day movie references.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for anyone that's never seen the movie Draft Day, Kevin Costner. You've seen it, right, Bob?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I was about to say it's one of the greatest cinematic masterpieces of all time. I watch it every draft day, every Thursday of draft day. And at the beginning of the movie, we don't see what he writes down, but there's a card, and Sonny Weaver Jr., the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, right? Blank, no matter what, folds it up, puts in his pocket. The beginning of the movie, we don't know what it says, and all kinds of craziness. He trades up, he trades down, he trades all over the place. And then when he's ready for the pick, he goes back to the card, no matter all the crazy shit that happened. And it was Vontae Mack, no matter what, and everyone loses their crap. So the player, no matter what, that we're going with. And so we'll go around the room. You just said it, but I want you to say it again, Philly. Your player is who?
Sonny Styles, no matter what, man. I'm sorry, that athletic freak, 10-year. The Pro Bowl 10 years is going to occur with that guy. Mm-hmm. It's just going to happen unless he just flames out, but I don't think so. So Sonny Styles.
Well, by the way, I will say this. I think we're going to probably do a full show on it tomorrow. We'll see. I can't remember if Pop's on tomorrow or Sunday. I'm going to work with them. So I'm watching the NFL Combine coverage, and there's all kinds of numbers we'll get into on Sonny Styles about like how freaky he is. But I'm listening to it. It's the end of the night. Their coverage normally goes from 3:00 to like 8:30. And then today will be the same thing, 3:00 to 8:30, and then the workouts start at 1:00 on the weekends. And they talked a ton about the Jets yesterday. Again, naturally, perhaps defensive lineman, linebacker, number 2 overall pick. And Rich Eisen turns to Daniel Jeremiah and says, "So what's the play at number 2 overall for the Jets after seeing what you did today?" And he says, "Sonny Styles crashed the party." And I'm like, And I tweeted out like, "Holy, what did he just say?" Because Drew Beatty, our draft analyst, a couple weeks ago did Sonny Styles, and he got berated. Like they said, "This is a draft analyst. He's an idiot. He should retire." And I was like, "Jesus, man, these people are getting a little aggressive." And you saw what he just did: the 40 speed, the vertical jump. I mean, and obviously it's a position of need for the Jets. I mean, he's a freak. So, yeah, I heard Dano Jeremiah say that. He says that he believes Sonny Styles is now in the conversation for the Jets at number 2 overall. And maybe for some people, he was always in the conversation, but this confirmed it. So, Sonny Styles. All right, Bob, here's the note. Insert player no matter what. So, you want this player no matter where we're going. Over the next coming weeks and months, Bob, there's going to be a lot of crap. There's going to be people that are going up and down, up and down. We're going to make free agency moves. We're going to think we're doing this. And we're going to make trades. We think we're doing this. But no matter what, who is the player you want in this draft, whether it's 216 or wherever? Who's the player no matter what?
I want Styles as we move up from 16.
Ooh, okay. So that's still okay. So Sonny Styles up from 16. Again, that Washington rumor. Just think
is what, 9, 10, something like that?
Who is?
No.
Who is
Washington's 7, I think.
So Washington 7. So yeah. So
how much? So numerically, how much do we have to give up in addition?
All right, let's pull up the NFL draft value chart. Let's
Jimmy
pull
J.
It up. Yep, there we go. Let's pull it up here. Let me get my glasses out. All right. So the Washington pick is worth 1,500 points. The Jets' 16th overall pick is worth 1,000 points. So you have a 700-point difference, my math is off. 1,500 or 1,000. There's a 500-point difference. The Giants are highlighted on this draft value chart, which is throwing me off. It's a different color. I'm like colorblind over here. So there's a 500-point difference to make up. Yes. That is. So according to the value chart, a 500-point pick is the 40th overall pick technically in the second round. The Chiefs have it. The Jets don't have it. I'm just saying what the value is to jump up as the second. So maybe the Jets could do 44 and a sweetener to make it official to the value chart. Yeah. But again, sometimes the value chart is a guideline. It's not exact.
And
maybe 44 would be enough.
And you rebuilt your linebacker core.
Oh my gosh.
And to his point,
think about it. So what do you say? So, okay, real quick, Bob. So if you move up for Sonny Styles, which, by the way, after yesterday and before, quite frankly, he's really good. I'm 4. What do you do at 2?
Reese.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, he's saying double.
Wow. Double dip at Ohio State. Oh, that would be fun. Like, look at those guys. They both ran 4.47s, and then it was 4.6.
You got to have that second line of it sounds like they're going to play a 3-4.
It does, and they could be stand-up outside rushers, or Mike linebackers. Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then knowing how athletic he is, he already was in sub packages with Patricia there at Ohio State, coming off the edge as well, and blitzing from the middle. He's going to do it in the NFL as well. Look at him; he's a freak. They're going to use him that way. So it's like if the comp is Fred Warner, would you not take Fred Warner at 2 if you're the Jets? Right. You know what I mean? Like. I'm sorry. I mean, we have to.
No, we'll see by how much emphasis they put in free agency on other defensive linemen.
Yeah.
If they do that, then they're going for linebackers.
Man, that would be so fun.
Before you guys let me off, couple things. So, so I'm gonna make a take here. It's gonna be crazy. If I think you asked yesterday, the gentleman from the Titans, beat reporter or whatever he could have been, a coverage guy. You were like, "Hey, could we see ourselves dancing again with the Titans?"
Yeah.
I dance. I'd say you want Brees because they could be a team maybe looking into. Because if they cut Pollard, they save like $9 million or something like that. $7 million. I just looked it up. $6 or $7 million. Something crazy. If you just trade us Pollard on a contract that's going to end and expiring anyway, we need a guy who can catch the ball and get loose through the backfield through very good, power runs, and he could do that. So Pollard can do that. I just think the fact that he had a rookie quarterback, it stood out as that did not help him and did not help that team. Rookie quarterbacks will make everything look bad. Like Justin Fields made everything look bad, a rookie quarterback will do that as well. Then he came into himself and he got better. If they populated themselves with Brees, it would spike that team. But if we took Tony Pollard, it's cheaper. We'll get a pick back with it, and we get a guy who's very serviceable. And you're not, you know what you're paying for. And they said the Jets are going to be very trade hungry, and you're probably trading Brees on a tag. So
I would say, so first off, I did ask that question to a couple of the different Titans guys, and a few of them brought up Brees. And then I, I'm like, all right, well, let's negotiate right now. What are we talking about here? And I love your idea of NBA style expiring contract. We acquire that. We need somebody for 2026. Hey, man. And then the expiring contract proceeds and pick, because obviously that's clearly not enough for Brees.
Yeah.
And if you're just getting rid of him, we're just helping you out with the transaction, making it a little bit easier. So that's intriguing to me. And apparently a lot of Titans people were drooling over the possibility of Brees with him being tagged, in theory, coming off the books. So a potential tag and trade. I don't think it's over. Again, I think Saleh is going to, whether it's offense or defense, he is going to scan, and his people are going to scan this roster. And again, I think Will's probably off the board now with Jermaine gone, but who knows? Maybe they completely reset because he is the fifth-year option coming up. I have no idea. But there's Will. There's Jamie and Sherwood. Obviously, you mentioned the tag and trade option with Brees Hall. I don't know who else would. Again, Michael Clemens is a free agent, so if he's going to go to, Uncle Indy, him going potentially to follow his brother down there with Saleh. But yeah, so trades are not over yet, according to Connor Hughes. So it's something to watch, man.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jamie and Sherwood ends up in Tennessee.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. If they potentially do, especially for the Sonny Styles stuff. Like, not that Sherwood is just this awesome thing, because obviously we are all raising our eyebrows after what we just saw last year. But if you trade him, because if you don't trade him, I think he's on the roster. I don't see them just cutting him because of how his contract is structured. So he would at least be part of the room. If you move on, that seems to say Sonny Styles. I just we could get a little bit.
When you make a deal in the NFL, unlike some other leagues, can you throw money in to
cash
the deal?
Considerations? Of course you can. Yes, absolutely.
Because Sherwood has a kind of expanded contract for multi-year.
He does. Yeah, 3 year, $45 million.
I have no doubt that Robert Saleh, if he watches the film and sees that Sherwood is not injured, that he could fit back into the scheme that Saleh was running in New York,
Atlanta, 100%. Multiple places.
Sure. It's San Francisco. Don't forget about, this is a sneaky one. Mike Rutenberg was the Jets linebackers coach from 2021 through 2024. He got the defensive coordinator job of the Cleveland Browns. They are a sneaky team to watch for potentially Jamie and Sherwood.
Because they're going to be losing.
They've already got a strong defense.
Well, here's where it got lost. Unfortunately, I feel terrible. A Notre Dame Golden Domer, my brother in arms, JOK Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa, suffered a very serious neck injury, missed all of last season, and the latest update, unfortunately, from Cleveland.com from Mary Kay Cabot is he may be done for his career, which again guts me. I feel awful. So they're looking for a new linebacker next to defensive rookie of the year Carson Schlesinger. So again, Rudy Sherwood, again, just put it in the back of your mind. I don't know if it happens, but if we're talking about potentially you're trading up with Cleveland at 6, Cleveland apparently rumors this week, they're looking for a blockbuster trade down. They're trying to move down. Could the Jets replace a pick with Sherwood, try to jump up there and do some swapping? 6 is rich high, but that gets you in a better position for Sonny or one of the receivers or whatever, in theory, you'd be moving up for. So something to watch.
I have a last but not least.
Okay, let's go.
So,
yes, sir.
Glenn bought a little bit of, with that Tavondre Sweat move. First of all, for Moogie, we trust. I'm going to keep saying he's been cooking for over a year now. It bought me with Dunbar, the whole Dunbar move and getting Tavondre. It brought me good faith a little bit for sure. And then seeing him on the NFL Network passed out. And you know what? I got to give him the benefit of the doubt. So as the teacher I am, I don't have my whiteboard today, guys. I'm sorry, it's been another week. Yeah. But I do have props. So we'll bring out the sleep apnea mask, which is very necessary for someone who could be suffering that. So, Glenn, this is the chance for you to maybe sign up with one of these ResMed companies and tell them that your sleep apnea is kicking your ass and you're passing out while you're at the combine. If not, I mean, this is the route you should go. Take it from one man to another. It's okay. Just admit it. Maybe you got sleep apnea. It's a good way to get around it.
Philly,
shout out, Frankie.
Philly, that's cruel. That's cruel.
Shout out, Frankie.
Well, thank you so much. So, Philly, thank you very much.
I wish you a good weekend. I wish you a good weekend, but that was uncalled for.
That was interesting. And now that was, I'm going to be honest, that's going to be hard to unsee. It's especially going to be hard to unsee now because now we have this screenshot forever of Philly in a sleep apnea mask. And whenever I see this, I will now know exactly what that moment in Jets history was.
And if he oversleeps during one of your shows, you'll know why he's oversleeping.
Apparently so. So sleep apnea, safety never takes a holiday. There we are. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here. Up next here on the program is Carl, or C, as he's been waiting patiently. What's up, C?
Don't hear you, Carl.
Yeah, Carl. You're not on. Yeah. No, his mic is on. So, all right, Carl, you're going to want to jump out and jump back in. I don't know if you can hear us, but we can't hear you. You may want to kick yourself out and kick yourself back in. It looks like it's a technical issue on your side. We'll try to come back to you here in a minute. Let's go to Philium up next here on the show. Philium, we're graced by your presence, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hey, Bob, how you doing? It's been a while.
Hey, good morning, Philium. How are you?
I'm good. So a couple things real quick on AG taking a nap. I don't think there's any doubt he dozed off. I think obviously they're looking for anything on him. I mentioned the other day, in the chat that his arrogance, and let's face it, from day one with the press conference, with the, get your popcorn ready and, I'm here to win, all that stuff. He put a target on his back with the media. And, there's guys on both sides of this issue. I'm not a hater of AG at all. I wanted him to be the coach. I think he's made a lot of dumb mistakes with the media. And when you make mistakes with the media, you pay for it. It's just that simple. Even I agree with you, Paul. His press conference was much more kind of toned down and stuff, but he threw in that one line about, his superpower. This is what the media is going to do to him. And he did it to himself. They're going to kill him. They're going to roast him every chance they get. It's what the media does. It's horrible. It shouldn't be, but it is. And he invited it, and he continues to invite it. So, there's no doubt. Like Bob said, the producer, or maybe it was you that said the producer could have easily saw that and said, yeah, don't go live to that. They were like, go live, go live, go live. Okay. They wanted to catch him snoozing. No doubt about it. It's not about anything other than that. Anybody in a long day, get a little tired, kind of nodding off. You're just watching one guy after another run around in his underwear. It's not a big deal, but this is what he's going to deal with. And it's why I wrote in the comments the other day that if he doesn't deliver, they're going to run him out of town. And you said, well, maybe if they go 0-8. No, they could be, 2-6, 2-7, whatever, 3-6 at the break. If the defense in particular is being shredded and Mr. Superpower looks bad, they are going to fucking roast him nonstop. Full stop, giant letters, back page of the paper every day. And he invited it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's real. So, that's basically my take on that.
Which is why I think Ian Rappaport is right about, the tack they're going to take with the free agency.
And just another thing, I want to reiterate what you just said, Philium, the defense part. That particularly record, obviously, you win games, the heat turns down. You lose games, the heat turns up. But specifically the defense, AG, this guy who says, I'm calling the plays now. If he calls the plays and there is zero difference, or it's somehow, for the love of God, worse. Like if it's bad, oh my goodness, the people, the torches, the pitchforks, the articles, the television hits. It will not be kind to one AG. And hey, as I said before, he will have no one to blame but himself for good or bad. If good things happen, he will get love. If terrible things happen, well, the headlines and everything else are going to keep coming.
Absolutely. And one other thing, Bob, last week, if I remember right, it was last week, you said something to the effect that Woody Johnson moved on from Bill Parcells, like didn't want Bill Parcells, and that you thought
Bill Parcells clearly said he didn't know Woody Johnson, he didn't know the new owner, and he was uncomfortable staying with the Jets for that reason. And to me, that translates into Woody didn't roll out the red carpet and say, hey, Bill, we want you to stay no matter what. So tell me if I'm wrong, but that was my impression.
Okay, well, again, if you go back and look at last week's tape, that's not how it came across to me at all. Was you basically, I think it was Ricky was on with you at the time, and you said something to the effect of, and I believe the conversation was that there was success with Woody at first, and then things, turned shitty.
Well, I didn't say that. Somebody else.
I believe what you said was that right from the get, that you had some issues with Johnson or something to like that because he didn't want Bill Parcells. He said something along that line. Yep. And everything I remember from that time was the 99 season ate him alive. He was done. Okay. He was expecting Super Bowl. He lost Testaverde. He was dealing with Rick Meyer and Tom Tupa and Ray Lucas, and struggled to the finish line at 8-8. And he was just burnt. And then he was going to be done. And then when Belichick screwed the Jets, he handpicked Al Groh and agreed to stay for a year to help Woody with the transition, but he just had no interest in staying. And from everything I remember, and I even did some research this week to make sure I was right, Woody Johnson practically begged him to coach another year, and he didn't want to do it. Now, whether it was because he didn't want to work for Johnson, that may very well be. But Woody Johnson absolutely wanted Bill Parcells.
Okay. I think I can see your point. I'll agree to disagree. I just don't see, when you have a legend like that running your organization, how you can let that guy go. You have to do everything you can. Look, he went to Dallas after that.
Yeah, no, he took a year off or two. I forget.
Retired, right?
Yeah,
he was tired, and he took some time. And he took some time, and he wanted to come back. Listen, we're never going to know, did he freaking offer to do his toenails or not? I don't know. Okay. But I do know that Woody Johnson wanted him to coach, and he was done and said no. Okay. Now, if what you're saying is he should have done more to keep him, I don't know. We'll never know what happened between those two guys. And it may very well be. I know he loved Leon Hess. That's a fact. And when Hess died and the season he had and all that, he was just done, and it may very well be that he had no interest in working for Woody Johnson. I don't think anybody does, right? But I don't think it had anything to do with, and all I'm saying is the comment you made was kind of saying that he didn't do enough to keep him, or he didn't, and I'm telling you,
lack of desire, right?
The statement was more like, he was dumb enough to let Bill Parcells walk. I don't think that's an accurate statement.
Okay, valid criticism, and I take it to heart.
Right? And believe me, the last thing I want to do is defend Woody Johnson. Okay. I think he's the worst owner in football, save maybe Jerry Jones. All right.
All right.
And I think he had early success with Herm Edwards. Sure. And then was decent
Mangini.
with Mangini, and it was decent with Rex. And as soon as the wheels started to come off, he took more and more control. Things got worse and worse and worse. And the whole Aaron Rodgers debacle, that is 100% laid at the feet of Woody Johnson. And when you got an owner coming out and making comments about his own freaking players the way this guy does, so trust me, I hate Woody Johnson. I hate him. All right, but fair is fair.
Okay.
Okay, appreciate it, Philliam. Thank you so much.
You got? What else you got?
Yeah,
what do you think about Brees? What do you think about the likelihood of signing Brees as opposed?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that we talked about this the other day. That I think the non-exclusive tag is the way I would approach Brees, and the difference there is with the exclusive tag. You're here one more year, 14 million. That's that. Okay. With the transition, you can find out what other guys want to pay, but if you don't want to match it, you lose them for nothing. I would use and here's the real key. You could use the transition tag if what you really want to know is what's the market willing to bear. Okay. If somebody wants to give Brees, 4 years, $60 million, see you later. And I get nothing for him though. That's the catch. I get nothing. If I want to know what the market is, that's the only way to find out the true market. But the non-exclusive, I go to his agent and I say, listen, if I use the non-exclusive, you can talk to people. All right. But you're not going to get true value for him, because if they offer him 15 million a year or 12 million a year, whatever the market is, and I don't match it, they got to give me 2 first-round picks. Okay, they're not going to do that.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Well, exactly. But that's my point, is that if you want to keep them, to me, and you don't want to take the risk of somebody blowing you away with a contract that you don't want to match, and then you get nothing. If you go to him, because the exclusive tag, the non-exclusive tag was really created, and I'll give you the perfect example, is you take Joe Burrow right now. Let's say Joe Burrow was in the final year of his contract. The Bengals are a mess. They can't afford to keep him. He's going to get 60. He might be a guy who might get 70 million. He might break that barrier, right? And you can't afford to pay him, all right? But you got 1 year left of control. You can use that tag. Somebody who wants him bad enough is still going to give him his 60, 65, 70 million, whatever. And you're going to get 2 first-round picks. That's what that really was designed for, was for somebody who's losing a franchise quarterback to get some reasonable compensation, all right? But you can use it as leverage with Brees to say, listen, if I slap this tag on you, if I do the exclusive, you're here for a year, whether you're pissed, we're not happy, we have no future together, let's hammer out a deal, because if we can come to an agreement for 3 years at what we consider fair, we can always talk about an incentive contract. We can always talk about a further extension. And we can even have a gentleman's agreement that next year, if you want us to work out a trade, we can do that. All right. All kinds of ways to approach it. But if they slap that tag on him, he's not going to find out what he's really worth out there, because nobody's going to offer him fair value, even if they want him, because then they got to give up 2 first-round picks as well.
Right.
So
well,
personally,
I think what happened yesterday with the deal, where they saved themselves $11 million, may very easily be the charm that they didn't really plan on, because that money could be basically go right against holding Brees for 1 year for $14 million, and basically you're only spending $3 million more than you were going to spend, because they got 11, extra, from Tennessee. So
well, and again, you can look at it that way, but to me, when it comes to salary cap room, it's so easy to spend that money, and they have so many holes, and yeah, I mean, you can look at it that way. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I think whether they got that extra 11 million or not, what it comes down to for Brees is, I believe they'd like him to stay, but they don't want to pay 12, 14 million dollars for him.
I agree.
So I think they got to, if they can now again,
but you have to have a quality running back.
I agree, and I think Brees, if it was up to me, I would try and keep him. I believe Brees is a guy that he's not Derrick Henry, he's not Saquon Barkley, but he was definitely the focal point of the offense last year. We have a professional offensive coordinator this year. Maybe that helps Brees want to stay, But if Brees just wants out of town, and he's going to demand money that I'm just not willing to pay, I also believe that there's always a bunch of running backs out there. You got a pretty good offensive line. If you solidify that at guard this year, bring in a stud center, I do believe you can get away without a Brees Hall this year as well. So I don't think he's not a guy that I would look at that I got to keep this guy somehow. But I would love to keep him at the right price. Now, The other thing is, if let's say Brees says, I believe I'm worth top dollar. I think I'm worth $15 million a year. And when I go to the right place, I'll prove it. I'm fine with an incentive contract. Let's give him a 3-year, 25, 27 million. Okay. And you know what? Go get 1,500 yards, and I'll pay you 15. I'll pay. Right. And you can layer that where at 1,100 yards he gets $500,000. At 1,200 he gets 750,000. At 13, 14 he gets another $1 million. I mean, there's ways to give him his money and make him earn it. So but I would use that tag if I can't get him to just straight up sign an extension that I want him to sign. I'm going non-exclusive tag, because this way he can't even know what the hell the market will bear.
Right. Well said. I know, Bob, you got to skip out for a second. That's okay. But Philium, I think you've nailed it on Brees, and it's going to be fascinating to see, because there are more chapters to be written in this story very clearly, Philium.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, you too, Philium. Can't wait. Have a great day. And again, speaking of Philium, there's an exciting thing beneath the surface. We're a little busy right now with the combine, but an exciting thing beneath the surface, Boy Green fans. I'm telling you, you're going to love this. I think so. Shout out to Philium. He is doing God's work behind the scenes on this project. So hopefully we have something to announce here very, very shortly. All right, let's go back. I think we got C back. C?
Hey, can you hear me now?
C, I can. Yes, excellent.
Yes. See, sometimes you have to resort to the wire, you know?
Ah, I see. Smart.
Sometimes you have to resort to the wire. I wasn't going to talk about this, but let's go back to the Parcells deal we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget who the coach was supposed to be when Parcells.
Oh, well, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I always wondered, I have my own thoughts about it. Why did he do what he did?
Yeah.
And I think, and I've always thought this, I think that Parcells went upstairs. Okay. And Bill was going to be the head coach.
Yep. Bill Belichick.
And I always thought that Bill figured if Parcells is still in the building, I'm not really the head coach. I can't make the decisions without running it past Bill. And I would love to know, I mean, in my wildest fantasies, what would have happened if Bill would have just left, if Bill Parcells would have just left, and then Bill Belichick became head coach.
Right, and so there was two things here. You're right, the Bill Belichick Parcells angle, and the Belichick had apparently the same concerns Parcells did about new ownership coming in with Woody, that he was uncertain about Woody. So as long as that element was also cleared, right, who knows? That's the interesting NFL. What happens if all that oh my goodness, that sends us on quite a whirlwind of ripple effects of that decision.
Exactly. But when Belichick had that news conference, that was probably one of the most bizarre news conferences. We talk about Adam Gase, his news conferences, but Bill Belichick's was very, very odd. I mean, that was.
I've heard stories. Rich Cimini has told stories. He was in that room, and he has told stories about that very odd press conference. He has a unique relation, or had. I don't know if he still does anymore. I guess I'd have to ask him about it. But back in the day, Bill Belichick, when he was on the Jet staff as defensive coordinator, he and Rich used to watch film together, and he used to have some of that stuff. Rich told me on the last time we spoke, it was earlier this month, that he is working on a book behind the scenes. He has no idea. He couldn't provide like how far away it is, but man, I can't wait to hear stories like that. I want to know more about all this craziness from the past and even some of the current stuff. That to me would be super interesting.
Yeah, that's something I've always wondered about. It's just one of those things, one of those what if moments, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And honestly, Bill, when he left the Jets, I think he went to Cleveland.
No, I think Cleveland was before. Let me pull this all up on the Bill Belichick. I think he went to New England immediately, because didn't we trade him to New England?
For Curtis Martin?
No, that was a separate thing.
That was the Bill Parcells deal.
Yeah, so the Jets, he was the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator from the Jets for 1997 through 1999. He was the head coach for 5 seconds, and then the Patriots wanted him, and then we traded him to New England. No, we had already had Curtis Martin. We got Curtis Martin in, what was that, 98?
Yeah, that was with the Parcells deal.
Correct, right. So, no, yeah, we traded Belichick after. So, no, the Cleveland stuff happened in the early 90s.
Didn't Belichick coach in Cleveland briefly?
He did, 91 to 95. He did. After his run as the Giants defensive coordinator, where he won some Super Bowls with the Giants from 85 to 90, then he went to, he was with the Giants from 79 to 80, or 90, excuse me, 79 to 90, and then he jumped over to the Browns. So he was with the Browns from 91 through 95. That's correct. Then he went to the Patriots for 1 season, and then he was with the Jets for 3 seasons.
Okay. Yeah, and he didn't have much success with the Browns.
He did not. I mean, let me see. I think I can find his coaching record here with Cleveland. He did, let's see, I have it here. So, well, it's actually, I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. So he went 6-10, 7-9, 7-9, 11-5, went to the playoffs, and then 5-11. So yeah, so he had one winning season and a couple of mediocre seasons. He didn't have like a 3-14 with those. It wasn't 17 games back in those days, but it wasn't. He didn't have any of those kind of bottom out seasons. But he went to the playoffs once, and he won a playoff game with Cleveland in '94.
Okay, and also with the second pick in the draft,
Sure.
I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think Reese is the pick because I think the kid has so much upside, and it's a little risky. But if this kid works out, he could be a superstar.
Sure.
And I think sometimes you have to take that chance.
You got to risk it to get the biscuit. See,
that's what I think. I mean, I think there's some questions about Bailey, and I'd go with Reese, but I still think that they should trade one of their second round picks.
Okay.
Maybe they can trade one of their second round picks. I still think they need that third rounder. I know I've been saying it like a broken record, but they need that third rounder.
We'll see. I think there's a lot of different ways for them to get it. We'll see if they can get it. I like your plan.
Okay, guys, have a good weekend.
All right, you too. There he is, C, joining us on the program with much better audio. Thank you, C. And let's bring him back in. Our quarterback here, Bob Lederer, returns here on the program. People are like, where'd Bob go? Bob didn't go anywhere. Don't worry, folks. We just had a blip on the radar there. Nothing major.
We got a number one for Belichick when he jumped to New England.
Yeah. Let me pull up the full trade. Let me go Jets trade here and find.
You're breaking up on me, Paul. I don't know if you know that or not, or maybe it's me.
Is one of those first internet, so hopefully this is it. This is correct. The Patriots sent their first round pick in the 2000 NFL draft, which was 16th overall, a 4th and 7th rounder in 2001 to the Jets, and they got back a 5th rounder in 2001 and Belichick, obviously, and a 2002 7th rounder. So long story short, there was some swapping of picks, but yes, the crown jewel of that was the 16th overall pick of the 2000 draft, which was one of our four.
Ironically, people say that Parcells never had great teams without Belichick, and Belichick never had his greatest teams without a certain quarterback.
That he did. I can't deny that fun fact you just shared with the audience. And speaking of the audience, folks, make sure you guys like the video. Again, we still have 400 people across our social media platforms, including over 100 on YouTube. Guys, like the video. That is the free way to contribute to the program. And again, another reminder that we have a bunch of interviews. If you're like, who the hell is T'Vondre Sweat? What is his story? We have 3 interviews up in the video section of this channel. I spoke with a Tennessee Titans beat reporter. I spoke with the Tennessee Titans insider and a Tennessee Titans analyst. So there are 3 separate interviews on T'Vondre Sweat talking about his off-field concerns. What is his ceiling with the Jets? Why did Tennessee move on? What are we getting in T'Vondre Sweat? We explored all of those with different sources. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy that content. Again, after Boy Green Daily, check it out in the video section.
Sounds like a 360 view of T'Vondre Sweat.
Which is what we try to provide around here, Bob Lederer. That's what we try to provide. All right, let's go to the phone lines. We've got several people waiting here. Up next is Lou B, Super Jets fan.
What's up,
Lou,
guys?
good morning.
Hey, Bob. Good morning. Good morning. Yesterday, the draft obviously changed for us. I think Bain went down a little, and I think Sonny Styles went up, right? So what does that mean for us at 16? Right. Okay. Something changed yesterday. We didn't go, the draft is not the same, right? So what changed for us? And we also made a trade. So now we have a position. So there was multiple factors yesterday. And now obviously it's going to change every day. But if the draft was today, what changed from yesterday is my question here, because I'm crazed about it.
Yeah, to me, I think defensive tackle / nose tackle, schematically, depending on your preference, I think that's checked off the bucket list for the Jets. That is no longer now. Can it be a relative need? You get a young guy later, perhaps, but in terms of primary needs, it's off the table. It's taken care of, which you feel great about for the Jets.
You can always get big fatties, even as undrafted free agents, and the Jets have done that in recent years.
Which tip of the cap to Darren Muji on that top 50 free agent board, right? Bob's like, what are the best guards available? What are the best defensive ends available? Someone else asked. In the top 50 big board of NFL free agents, there is one defensive tackle in the top 50, and that's John Franklin Myers, who we're very intimately familiar with. And with all due respect to JFM, he's about to be 30. And if he's the only guy, he's going to get overpaid. So shout out to Muji saying, so that's what we have available at defensive tackle and free agency. Yeah, let me go through. If people are zigging, I'm going to do a zag here. I'm going to go get Tavondre Sweat, who's 24 years of age, and I'm going to go down that hole than going after a JFM. I think that's a smart, savvy move, evaluating what's available on the market and going in a different direction. So I think, firstly, that trade yesterday solves defensive tackle. Boop, put that aside. Obviously, it highlights the need at pass rusher. It felt like they could have gone pass rusher anyway, potentially at 2 with Jermaine Johnson. Without Jermaine Johnson, you totally need to go pass rusher, and then we make our choice. I think, again, gun to my head right now, I think the pick's going to be Arvell Reese of Ohio State. I think that's where they go, and then we could talk about some manipulations of potentially moving up from 16 or doing something like that. But I think 2 right now, I think we get Arvell Reese. I think they're going to get that primo front 7 player at 2 to replace the hole. So again, what did the trade do? It solved defensive tackle, and it highlighted very clearly to me, wow, the sights are set for the Jets to make their selection at number 2 overall.
Yeah, I think that our GM is so good. I think it's unbelievable. I think this is going to be a story to tell in the future. If we ever, and hopefully make it to the big day, right? I think it's him that's going to get us there. I don't think I said to you yesterday, I don't think he's going to leave one hole on this roster. I'm not even thinking about next year. I do not believe we go into this season with one hole on our roster. I think anybody from the past better start buying boxes from Staples because you may be gone. I think they're putting their own guys in there, and it just looks like that. I think Sherwood is done. I think he will be gone very soon.
Is that where you can buy boxes, by the way? Staples? Do they sell boxes?
Staples sells boxes.
Oh, great.
These Jets are sort of they're being seen at Staples all the time now, basically, the way we're trading guys out. But I love our GM. I don't know about AG yet. Like the stuff that he says sometimes, it just makes you wonder how his thinking process works. The sleeping stuff, I want him to be tired. You better be tired. You better be around the clock, right? I think that was, somebody should get fired for that. And it shouldn't be him over that shit. I think that we need him to be tired. He's tired. That's it.
Yeah.
This is a tough job. And I said to you yesterday, I think it's really interesting, Justin Fields. I hope that we can use him in a trade for Tanner with Philly. I hope they want to take Philly would want to take Justin because he does fit into their scheme a little bit, even though he's terrible. But let's go, man. I think we got to trade up from 16 and get one of these other monsters. And I think there's going to be somebody really great over 10. And I think we're going to come up. I really do.
Let's go, Lou B.
We're talking strictly about defensive people today, which basically has taken our eye off wide receivers.
For now.
Up till now, 16 seems to have been a spot where you take, the wide receiver that they need.
Hey, maybe there's a trade to be had. Cough, cough, Brian Thomas Jr. out of Jacksonville. I've heard some of those rumors, so maybe you get creative, and that's how you solve wide receiver. You again, zigzag, Darren Muji, get creative. Don't have to just use the draft assets. I've always felt this way when I play Madden. I try to fill as many holes before the draft as possible, so when the draft comes, I can do whatever the hell I want, because the draft is not just about right now. It's not caveman, we need left guard. We need to grab left guard. Well, that's not how the draft should work. It should be, wow, in 3 years, Muji's like looking forward. Wow, this wide receiver can help us now, but really he's going to impact this. Oh, wow, this pass rusher is here for this, but he's also going to provide this 2 steps down the road, 3 steps down the road, 4 steps down the road. It's supposed to be a longer process. So that's how I would do it if I'm Muji. It seems like that's what he's going to do to fill all these roster holes, like Lou B just said, and then go in with complete flexibility in the draft. And you can trade up and trade down and go all over the place if you have that comfortability with the holes you filled. So Lou B, you're speaking it into existence, my friend.
I have a question for Bob. Bob,
Yeah.
16, Jordan Tyson or Ty Simpson falls based on some things that went on yesterday. Do you take either one of them?
Tyson's got an injury issue.
Yeah,
he does, but he's still incredible when he's on the field.
Well, yeah. Well, you have to, guys who get hurt in college, I don't know. There's a strong track record that it's hard to stay healthy in the pro ranks. And when we're talking about wide receivers, yesterday I heard that Mechie is considered near the top of the available wide receivers in free agency.
In restricted free agency, yeah. So, or just overall position.
So what's what? I'm just throwing this out rhetorically. What's the Jets' interest in retaining him? Were they impressed enough by what he showed them in a half a dozen games?
To me, best case scenario, and only case scenario is, again, when you're a restricted free agent, you can be slapped with a different kind of tender: first round tender, second round tender, original round tender, right of first refusal. I believe the Jets are going to go for plan D. They're going to go right of first refusal. That is a 1 year. If they do anything, they could just let him hit the open market as is if you don't choose to tender him. But if they give him the last tender, which is a 1 year deal for $3.5 million, and here's how it works. He is allowed to seek other offer sheets out there in the universe. If he signs any offer sheet, the Jets will have the right of first refusal. If they match it, they get him on that same deal, or they let him go. If he has no deal, no one offers him the deal, he could sign the tender and he's with the Jets on a 1 year deal for $3.5 million. I think that's a best case scenario because he had a ton of drops at the end of the season, but they need wide receivers, so I can't be picky.
You could get a wide receiver at 33, BG. There's so many good wide receivers. Omari could fall. The other Elijah Sarrett could fall.
His presence shouldn't change that, though. Whether Mechie is here or not here, he shouldn't affect whether or not we take a receiver at 33 if we want to, or 44 or anything. Because with all due respect, he's a guy to me. That's all I see in this.
We need to hunt for Lemon. That's what we need to do. We need to go up and try to get Lemon. That would be the move for us. Having a stud like that, if we could take like a 44 and move up, getting Lemon would be so powerful for this team. We're not getting Carnell Tate. He's gonna go too high. Lemon's the only guy that maybe makes it to 7, 8, maybe. But
it's important, Lou B. You want a little acidity on the dish, a nice little lemon, a nice little zest on the dish. Not too shabby.
He is incredible. I hope we can move up and get him, because I don't think we're going to be able to get Sonny Styles. He's going too early. We'll never be able to move up and get him. You guys have a good day.
Thanks, Lou B. You're the best.
Have a good weekend.
There he is, Lou B, Super Jets fan, joining us here on the program. Wow, good stuff. And again, lemon zest, not too shabby. That's good for the wide receiver room. It's healthy. All right, back to the phone lines. Bill Aimley joins us here on the show. Bill, a beautiful orange shirt. How are you?
Hello, Bill.
Yeah, good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, that's a very vibrant shirt. I'm really digging
Bill,
it.
To change the subject, how'd you like Norm McLean yesterday?
Oh, I didn't get to see the highlights. I only heard all the good stuff that went on in yesterday's game, which is good. It is just spring training, but a lot of our young pitchers are really showing their mettle out there on the mound. So we hope it will translate to the regular season.
And you and I and some of the other Met fans, we've got this inside track on information about Syracuse coming up.
Okay. When it comes to Phil's comments, I see the whole Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick thing so differently. Okay. I recall when both were with the Jets, I recall seeing a lot of articles and things making reference to Bill Belichick having a very good friendship with the Patriots owner. And there was a belief that at some point Belichick will leave the Jets and become the Patriots coach. So a little bit after that, then Parcells decided to quit and leave the Jets to Belichick, which to me, I took it as Bill Parcells telling Bill Belichick, screw you, you can have that team rather than the Patriots. And Bill said, oh, yeah, I'll screw you one over. And he left. I don't look at Belichick leaving us as being a nephew to us. I just don't see it that way. Well, he was looking to be a Patriots coach all along.
I think the story was that Belichick wanted to move out of Parcells' shadow, number one. Right. Number two, clearly, because of what the NFL told New England it had to do, Kraft interfered, with Belichick's contractual status with the Jets.
Okay.
And that's why the Jets got compensated for Belichick going there. And they got very heavily compensated.
Yeah, and my thing was that the coach that promised Hess a Super Bowl was not Bill Belichick. It was Bill Parcells. Right. And I felt that he had an obligation to stay as Jets coach and get the job done, although Phil pointed out that at some point Parcells was just burning out and he just couldn't do it.
I think if the Jets had won the Super Bowl the last year,
mm-hmm.
Of Parcells' reign, he would have retired. I have no doubt about that.
Philium has re-entered the octagon.
Hey, Phil, how are you?
How you doing, Bill?
Yeah,
hold on.
You're in Florida, so you're having it a lot better than we are weather-wise here.
Yeah, it's true. Definitely true.
Yes, that is part of living in paradise, brother. But no, I just wanted to jump on because I honestly, my comments were pretty much about why Parcells left and the relationship with Woody. All I said about Belichick was when Belichick screwed us, which he did. Then Parcells handpicked Al Groh, who was the linebackers coach, who took the job reluctantly, I think, out of respect for Parcells. Did 1 year, 9-7, not bad, and moved on. He went to college for like 10 years. As far as whether or not Belichick screwed us, he absolutely screwed us because he signed a contract that specifically stated that at the end of Parcells' run, whatever time frame that was, he would assume the head coaching position. He got a $1 million bonus for doing so, and then he fucked us anyway. And Bill Parcells went on record, and those guys had their issues. Don't get me wrong. There was some definite whether it was being in his shadow.
Yes.
Yeah, whether it was being in his shadow or Parcells resenting the fact that people said he couldn't win without Belichick. I believe there's truth on both sides. But Parcells later said, as far as he's concerned, Belichick owes the Jets $1 million.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, my comments were really directed at whether or not Woody Johnson wanted Parcells to continue. He absolutely did, and whether he didn't roll out the red carpet enough or whatever, we'll never know. But he absolutely wanted Parcells to continue. Parcells was done and wanted to move on, and he stayed an extra year. He stayed an extra year in an advisory role to help with the transition, and he assumed that was going to be with Belichick as head coach, and Belichick screwed him. That's my take, and I believe that's history's take for the most part.
Right. I mean, my take obviously is that I knew about the connection between Bill Belichick and the Patriots owner, and this had been going on quite a ways, even when Belichick was Jets coach. So so when he left, I didn't see it as us being screwed. It was like it was inevitable.
Well, two things can be true. There's no question. Like there's a lot of people that said Belichick didn't want to go to the Jets. He wanted to stay in New England. And he went to the Jets with Parcells, and he loved Bob Kraft and New England. And two things can be true. I do think he preferred New England over the Jets from the get. I think he always wanted to go back. All right. So now again, maybe using the word he screwed us. Well, contractually, he screwed us. He had agreed to take over when Parcells left, and then resigned. All right, immediately.
Right.
So contractually, he screwed us. Now, does the man have the right to work where he wants to work? Absolutely. And, all that. I'm not debating whether he had a great relationship in New England. He may never have wanted to leave there. He may have been strapped to Parcells in ways he didn't want to be. This is a separate conversation, completely separate conversation. My comments were strictly that Woody Johnson absolutely wanted Parcells to continue, and he simply didn't want to.
Right. And so, again, in my eyes, obviously, I felt that Parcells was the one that screwed us, since he was the one that promised to Hess family, even though, of course, Hess passed away, that, he would get us to the Super Bowl. He never followed through on it. But, I have to take into account the possible burnout that you're discussing, that that's the reason why Bill Parcells couldn't continue.
Yeah, and I mean, again, two things can be true, right?
Yeah,
he loved Leon Hess, right? When Hess died, that changed everything for him. The '99 season, he talked about it many times, that the '99 season just killed him. It absolutely killed him. He said it was the toughest year he ever coached, because he went into the season. They were a game away from the Super Bowl in '98. Odds-on favorite to go to the Super Bowl, and the whole thing fell apart. And he was, just struggling all year. And he was just, the guy was, I forget, 60 at least, was just tired, man. And it wasn't looking to start over with new ownership. And again, everybody can have their opinion. I'm not trying to, say that mine is necessarily right about Belichick, who screwed us, why they screwed us, whether they screwed us. My entire conversation was that I believe Woody Johnson wanted Parcells to stay, and Parcells chose not to for whatever reason. And if you want to say he screwed us, that's fine. That's fair. But Woody Johnson wanted him to stay, and he simply chose not to.
All right.
Fair enough. Thanks, Phil.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Yeah, so I was thinking to myself when it comes to the draft, I said, okay, you know what? I'll take Bain.
Sure.
I'll take Bain, because now with him and Sweat on the line, we'll have a T-Rex and a Mammoth taking care of the opposing offenses.
I don't care what the Cretaceous period, the Mesozoic period, the whatever period, I am all for us having these. And it's funny, I was going to use the word, and Bain used it at NFL Combine. Why should you be this top pick? I'm a monster. Well, give me monsters, dinosaurs, give me them all.
Exactly.
This unit needs a massive upgrade, and Javondre Sweat should help. Bain, Reese, all these guys. I'm really titillated.
So when I hear he has T-Rex arms, and I go, great, because that didn't hurt the T-Rex.
That's true. The T-Rex was quite a ferocious beast. That's a good point. I've never heard that.
And from all the reports that I read on Bain, he is a monster athlete when it comes to both stopping the run and just relentlessly going after the quarterback. And I'm like, all right, good. He can take care of both sides. Great. I'm all for that.
I believe we're going to have a draft analyst on next week. He said he couldn't do it during Combine Week. He could do it after. If I remember correctly, he is a massive Bane to the Jets at 2 guy. And I will be curious. And I've heard a lot of people say that the floor is very high with Bane, that he rock solid. He's going to be this. And they think the ceiling is still really good. He can be this. That's what I heard from a few draft analysts. So we'll see when I have that.
Is Bailey the one that they feel may be a weak against the run?
David Bailey, yes, Texas Tech. That's the criticism. Yeah.
Now Reese is interesting because I guess depending on how many other solid linebackers you have on your unit, you could probably play Reese either as a linebacker, blitzing linebacker, or on the edge. But that's going to require you to have a lot of depth at both positions. And, right now I don't see that with the Jets. But obviously I would say Bain and Reese are probably the 2 top pass rushers for the Jets to consider for that number 2 pick.
It is between those 3, I think, because Bailey had a lot of production last year. So it would be Bailey, Bain, and Reese. Those are the 3.
Now, I don't know if they're going to move up from 16 because you only have so many picks to play with.
Right.
So either, I would think that they could move back from 16 as
Possibly.
opposed to because, as far as the number 2 pick, it's not too many teams that want to move ahead of you unless all of a sudden some other quarterback prospect came out of nowhere in the combine. It's like, oh, all right, I'll take this guy instead.
Which is what you want to root for on Saturday. So
we're looking at it from the Jets' perspective about moving up, but there may just as well be other teams that want to get into the 16 spot,
perhaps,
and get out of a 10 or 12.
Could be,
or even want to move up to 16 from 18 or something like that.
Right.
Jets should consider all options on the table. They should move all over the board,
So,
wherever.
And Muji has obviously been very impressive so far.
Very much so.
Absolutely. Very impressed at his performance up to now.
Thanks, Bill.
I was going to say just one last thing.
Yeah, of course.
Regardless of whether you believe it was AG's idea or Johnson's idea about AG being the defensive coordinator now, as well as head coach, it is without a doubt to me that what burned him was the blaming Wilkes for his failure, saying it was the Wilkes defense, even though it's supposed to be AG's defense. So when he threw him under the bus, and here he is telling Johnson, "Hey, I'm thinking of Martindale as defensive coordinator," and the first thing Johnson would say to him is, "Oh, so you could throw him under the bus too? Is that what you're going to do?"
I think honestly, I think it came down to money. I don't think that
really
Woody wanted to spend the money.
That's possible. The thing that, where my BS meter goes up is that AG said that he told Wink, "Hey man, AG am calling the plays," and according to AG, Wink's like, "Oh, that's cool." And I'm like,
and then he didn't hire him.
Right, exactly.
Right. So apparently, right. So AG says he says that to Wink. Wink's like, "Oh, totally cool," and no problem. And then to your point that they don't hire again. It just, I don't know Wink personally, but from what I've heard of him, he has a massive personality, massive ego, and that can be good or bad for people. And him playing second fiddle to AG calling, I don't know how that works. I don't know how Wink is on the sideline sitting on his hands while AG's calling plays and it goes badly. That seems hard to believe.
But Wink Martindale always play second banana to Gene Rayburn anyway. So,
definitely. AG can only blame AG for all the issues that have gone on. Up to now, obviously. He keeps walking back statements. He keeps throwing other people under the bus. At some point, it's like he's got to start pointing the finger at himself.
It's just winning.
Winning. Exactly.
You win, that stuff stops. If he loses, it doesn't.
Right.
Point blank.
I think Cousins will probably be the bridge quarterback.
All right.
And just maybe either McKee or Mills as the backup until they finally get a prospect in, or in the following year when they finally draft their quarterback.
I love that idea. If that's the room that it is, that'd be a good room. Bill, you're
Have
the
a
best,
good
baby.
weekend, everybody.
You too, Bill. Appreciate that. Let's get one more call in here before we wrap up the program. 400 people in the room. Appreciate you. Like the video, hit subscribe, baby. It's the one and only Kyle Clifton here on the show. Kyle?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Good, Kyle. Good morning.
What a show.
So I want to push back on some of the stuff that I think I've heard this morning.
Okay. All right, let's go.
Go.
So if we're bringing in somebody like Trevondre Sweat, we think we're going to be playing 3-4 probably about 70% of the time. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's probably about 70-ish%, sure.
And then probably 4-3 on passing downs.
I would assume so. Yeah.
Yep. So I think the need for D-tackle is not mitigated. I think you're looking for guys that are D tackles that are going to play 3-4 ends, right?
Right. Sure. Like Juwan Briggs could play 3-4 ends.
He's going to play that, and I think that they're going to probably try and do something with Phillips' contract.
I agree. Probably add a year or something. Yep.
But I don't think that a guy like Peter Woods, if he were available at 16, would be out of the question.
Interesting. Well,
Right?
where do you? So after everything that just happened yesterday, where does defensive tackle stand in like the top 10 needs for the Jets? Like, where would you put it among all their other needs?
It's certainly behind wide out and linebacker, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, quarterback, right? Yeah, like you start dropping it down the board, right? Safety, sure, right.
Quarterback, which won't be addressed in this year.
Left guard, wherever. Again, maybe that gets addressed well beforehand, but again, just if we're just slicing up things, you know.
But my whole thing with this offseason is this.
Mm-hmm.
We have to think about the versatility that we're going to need to be multiple.
Yep.
So if you just take down value, I think you can get to where you want to be with the defense quicker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a guy that loves a trade like trading 16 for Brian Thomas, because I think Chris Brazzell or Malachi Fields is going to be there at 44. Right.
And by the way, I want this to be clear. I don't think I would trade 16 for Brian Thomas.
Okay.
I think the market may be the contenders if they're willing to throw their 20s, whatever pick that is. And if so, that'll probably be anything the Jets would offer. I'd probably be in the second round, and we're doing some weird switching around of pick swaps of something on BTJ with whatever the baggage is coming off of this year. But no, I wouldn't give up 16.
No, but my whole thing is, and I love Lee Hunter, right?
Yeah, sure. Texas Tech. Yeah, he's great.
And my whole thing is, well, T'Vondre Sweat, he's gonna be your main guy in the middle, your zero tech in a 3-4.
Yep.
But if you brought in a guy like Hunter say he was somehow available at 44, he also plays one tech in the 4-3. So like you would have depth there. Like all these guys that have been here under Saleh and in the first year of AG, they're going the way of the dodo, I would think. All these, undrafted free agents that didn't pan out, and Michael Clemens.
Yes.
Forget it. Out the door. New mindset, and let's try and get versatile. And I think you should be looking to go back more of a rotation than that we originally had under Saleh if we're going to truly try and have a multiple defense and just load up the front seven with guys that can kind of fill those roles and can be versatile. That's why a guy like Reese makes a lot of sense at 2, because he's going to be your 3-4 edge, and he'll also be your downlighter back when you want to go a little bit lighter up front in a 4-3, I think.
Which, again, to your point of multiple fronts, to have a guy who is versatile for the multiple, so no matter what you have, this number 2 overall pick is always in action. I think that feeds to it too. So yeah, that again, if I said it earlier, I'll keep saying it. Gun to my head right now, the pick is 2. The pick is 2. Yeah, thanks, Paul. Oh, thanks for that analysis. The pick at 2 is Arvell Reese, if the gun was to my head right now, I believe.
Right. And to me, this whole offseason is really about the defense, because it's a defense-heavy draft. We're not getting the quarterback this year. And the defense, quite frankly, last year was embarrassing, and it made us non-competitive. So let's fix it.
But I don't see you emphasizing, in my mind, linebackers enough from what you just talked about.
I think that there are guys that you can get in round 2, round 4, and obviously it might be something that we look at free agency. Safety is definitely something that, I feel with our embarrassment of riches and picks and this class and the free agency class, we're going to be able to address pretty easily.
Yeah, I think late second round safety is where we might end up going there.
Right. I mean, if we could go back and get a third, that is really our ideal scenario, because then we'll be able to address linebacker and safety in this draft pretty easily. I appreciate your time, guys.
Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate that here on the show. I know we have a bunch of other callers waiting. I'm so sorry, but I have to cut off to jump on to do some other interviews. But I want to thank everybody for joining us here on the program. Appreciate it. On the way out, if you enjoyed the show at all, like the video, hit subscribe. Again, 400 people consistently were watching the show throughout. That means the world. Make sure on the way out that you like the video, whether you're watching live or after the fact. Shout out to the people that also enjoy the show on Facebook and Twitter, the replay on YouTube, and the audio-only version of the podcast as well. Bob, another great show in the book, some great callers, great conversation, and some laughs.
And this coming week's going to be very, very interesting to watch because some big decisions are coming down.
100%. I will be tuned into all the NFL Combine coverage today. So, folks, I'll have plenty of articles out on a variety of matters. Ty Simpson was just speaking to the Jets media at the Combine, so there's things there and all over the place. So we will keep you guys posted.
Don't get too bleary-eyed and don't have your eyes closed while you're watching.
Yeah, that's good advice. Again, make sure you guys subscribe right now. YouTube.com/@BoyGreen25 for all the latest. This live show every morning at 7:30 a.m. Plus bonus interviews like I said, the 3 that we had from our beat reporter, insider, and analyst. 3 separate interviews on the Tavondre Sweat edition for the New York Jets via trade. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for all the memberships and super chats. Frankie, Delray Doc, Fastest Food Reviews, Troy Sturgis, EZ, and this member shout out from Jake Asman and the Meadowland Swap thing. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you next time. Take care.